I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to
because they
Target!
hate to
Let's go to
rebuke
Target!
government. Many such
Need
cases
some
they-
PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to
because they
Target!
hate to
Let's go to
rebuke
Target!
government. Many such
Need
cases
some
they-
PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
I'm unmuted. Haha. I got it. What's up, Robert? Welcome to the show, guys. It's the last week of White History Month. Last show of White History Month. We made it through another July. Things are getting crazy in the world. I guess while I'm sleeping, there's a mass pew-pew event in New York. And Kentucky's going crazy. I don't have those stories yet because I just woke up. So we'll have to talk about that stuff next week as it develops. But today we're going to talk about a lot of Trump stuff as usual. What's going on in the world with Trump? We're getting rid of ABODs and hobos. No mo ABODs, no mo hobos. Trump has banned ABODs and hobos. What's an ABOD? An able-bodied adult with zero dependence. That's an ABOD. If you're an able-bodied adult with zero dependence, go to work. Get a job. Stop mooching off the government. You don't get to get paid by me to sit and play video games all day. That ain't happening no more. Hobos, you're done. You're done. You're going to the asylum. Check them in to the asylum. That's right. That's right. All my former hobo, a lot of them still current hobos, but a lot of my former hobo friends are really scared right now. They say Trump made being homeless illegal. I think they're exaggerating. I think that we're still going to have homeless people. Jesus said the poor will always be among us. And he's right. You're not ever going to get rid of all the homeless people. But we're making good steps towards not having these giant encampments, open air drug markets with needles on the ground and parks where children play. You broke glass where my children play. That's from everybody seen I can't remember what it's called. What is that movie called? Oh man. Anyway, we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about what was the other thing? The ABODs, the hobos, the Obama situation. Is Obama going to jail? And then also updates on the songbird Ghislaine Maxwell. She's singing. She's trying to get out of jail, so she's going to say what she needs to say to get out of jail. And I don't think she should get out of jail. But she might. We'll see what happens. But we'll talk about all that. And then it'll be in rapid fire news, but it's not really a rapid fire story. We're going to talk about the mass Walmart stabbing. I haven't even really looked into this too much, but I guess a good guy with a gun stopped a bad guy with a knife. You come with knife, we come with gun. You lose. You lose. You don't bring that knife to the Walmart. They got him. A good guy with a gun stopped a bad guy with a knife. We'll talk about that Walmart thing. If we have time, we'll look into whatever is going on in New York. I guess there's a active shooter in New York. I don't know if it's still going on, but I saw some things about it when I woke up. And then Anarchy in the UK. What's going on in the UK? It's not just the UK. It's a bunch of those European countries over there losing their damn minds. It'll be a kind of a recap of the riots from 1 year ago over the 3 girls that got killed at the Taylor Swift dance thing. Well, the anarchy's still going on. They're getting tired of it over there. And we're getting tired of it over here too. All this open border crap, you know? It's White History Month though. It's the last week of White History Month. So, we got to play the song. Y'all know what it is. Where's the song at? Shout out Trevor Wesley. You know? Hold on. Let me, where's theater mode? See, they changed up YouTube. Now I don't know where stuff is. Okay. All right. Let's get the song going. It's that time of the year. You know how we do around here.
He's married to that big guy. The big guy with the eyeliner, right?
Drogo. Beta.
Drogo. Daddy and I are never going to get a divorce, but if we did, we would love you both just as much.
It's a relief. Thank you, Mom. Hit the play button.
I have a major announcement right now. The 1st of July is White History Month.
Look at the kid. He's
So
like, huh?
the whole month is
White
White
History
History
Month.
Month from now on. Happy White History Month.
It's White History Month.
I'm gonna celebrate with my friends.
It's White History Month.
So make sure to tell everyone.
There will always be different months to celebrate. But this one's gonna be White History. It's White History Month.
And I'm gonna celebrate America.
It's White History Month. And I'm gonna scream it to everyone. There will always be different months to celebrate. But this month's gonna be
White History. Shout out Nicolas Cage. Shout out Breakfast Club. All right. That's the last time Don't worry. White History Month's over. You made it through. We made it through another one. We made it through another one, boys. Can't wait for 2026. But that just means next week, 30 days past September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. Yeah, next week will be Men's History Month. August is Men's History Month. Shout out JLP for starting the only 2 months that matter. White History Month in July, because July just feels white. You know? And of course, Men's History Month in August. Even though July is the month where, like, maybe White History Month should be in, like, December. You know? Because everybody's bundled up and you get pale. In the winter, I get pale because I'm, like, never outside with short sleeves on. In the summertime, in July, I get less white. I get less white in July due to the sun. It's crazy. It's like the sun makes people less white. The sun's racist. We got a racist sun up there trying to make me look Mexican. So that's my only gripe with White History Month being in July is that, you know, I get less white in July. I start looking like Juan Pablo, Juan Santos. My name is Juan Santos. Hello. ICE is looking for me. I don't like them. They are very scary. Very scary. Scary. That always cracks me up when Spanish people speak English and they say S words and they say scary. It is very scary. I'm going to a school. I study in a school. Where's Seasal? All right. Enough of that. You know, great white men in history. Can I think of one? I can think of a lot of them. Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein. A nice German guy. Helped us build a fake nuke. You know? He made up a bunch of equations that really don't mean anything. And he made a big bomb that made the whole world afraid of nuclear energy. That's a great white man. I don't know if nukes are real, but I do know Albert Einstein was a G. Way better than Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was a fraud. He was just a crazy guy. He was just a crazy guy that did a bunch of doodles. He said, oh, I stole my light bulb idea. You didn't do anything. You didn't make a light bulb. You drew a picture of a light bulb plugged into the dirt. That doesn't work. I've tried. That does not work. So shut up about Nikola Tesla. He didn't do anything. Oh, but he has a treasure box that Trump has that has a telescope that you can see into the future. Shut up. The telescope is not real. You can't see into the future with a freaking looking glass. Okay? No. No. Tesla. What a joke. He died in a hotel room talking to a bird. Alone. Sad and alone. With a notebook full of doodles. 200-something patents. Meanwhile, Thomas Edison out here with like 4,000 patents. Come on. Are you really an inventor if you're just coming up with ideas and you're not making any of them work? That's not an inventor. That's just a crazy guy making doodles. Meanwhile, Edison's out here. Einstein's out here running the game. Getting it done. I'm from the future. Tech is amazing. You're from the future. All right, John Teeter. Calm down. Your name's not John Barrett. Your name's John Teeter. Calm down, John Teeter. You're not from the future. You can't listen, you could go, technically, we could go into the future if we had a spaceship the size of Jupiter moving at the speed of light. Then we could go into the future. Technically, kind of. Really, not really. Really, we just would age slower than everything around us. But you can't go into the past. Nobody can go into the past. The past doesn't exist. There is no past. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It's 10:15 Tuesday. 10:15 Tuesday. No, it's not. It's 6:15 on a Monday. How are you on a Tuesday? He's in the future. He's traveling to the past. What the? Happy White History Month for the melaninly challenged. Yes, we're missing the God particle. The white people, we don't have the God particle. But in July, when I go out in the sun, I get a little bit of God particle. You know? I get a little darkened up, boys. The guns get dark. I get some God particle in me. All right. What are we talking about today? This is so awesome. Dude, I'm so happy. I've been talking about this for a while because y'all know if you've been around for a while, you know the circles I used to run with. Pretty much all my life, all my friends have been convicts and dumb shits. And so I know a lot of people who are homeless, were homeless. I know a lot of people who are on welfare, are on food stamps. You know, all my friends are dead and in jail, or they're homeless, or they were homeless and now they're living off the taxpayer dole. You know, it's just the way, it's just the crowds I ran with. Now I don't have any friends, except for my internet friends. I love my internet friends, but I don't have any real life friends. Because if I did, they'd all end up being crazy people. But they're all losing their minds right now because guess what? It's time to go to work, boys. It's time to go to work. No more ABODs. Bye-bye ABODs. An ABOD is an able-bodied adult with zero dependence. And if you're able-bodied and you're an adult and you don't have any kids, even if you have kids, I'd say that'd be more reason to get a job. But they're able-bodied, young men living on government housing, government food stamps, Social Security benefits, healthcare paid for. They get clothes from like churches and stuff will bring them clothes, especially out here in Utah. The Mormon church will show up at your front door with a box of clothes every month and food on top of their food stamps and everything else. So, which I don't have a problem with churches doing charity. I think that's the way we should do welfare. But a lot of them are able-bodied young men, and they might be a little weird. You know, they're a little weird, but what weird means nowadays is ADHD, OCD, dyslexia, schizophrenia, bipolar, neurodivergent, all this other nonsense psychological gobbledygook. You know, where's my sound? Where's Norm? I need you, Norm.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Yeah. Basically, these young men who, other than just being a little weird, they go to a government shrink. They get analyzed. They answer questions a certain way. Just answer a questionnaire certain ways. And now all of a sudden, oh, well, we're going to give you a check every month. And if you work, you're going to lose your check every month. And you're a perfectly able-bodied young man. Maybe you don't work well around other people. Okay, well, go dig a ditch for 8 hours a day. You won't have time to be crazy anymore. You don't have time to be crazy if you're doing damn hard labor all day. Get to work. We got streets that need to be paved. We got freaking, I don't know, there's stuff you could do. You could do work. But instead, they get on the taxpayer dime and they sit and they play video games. And what's crazy is, well, at least some of the guys I know that do this, they're not even like streaming. At least like stream and try to make something out of it. But nope. It's just get paid to do nothing and play video games all day. How do you afford a freaking PlayStation 5? How do you afford a computer? How do you afford new video games? How do you afford a monthly subscription to a MMORPG that I don't even pay a monthly subscription for? I'm not pay. I won't even pay for Final Fantasy 14. I ain't paying $15 a month for a video game every month. No. I got a budget, boys. We got a budget. That ain't in the budget. It's hooking. Try hooking? Wait, what? Like male gigolos? But I seriously know guys that have a PS5, have the newest MMORPG, pay a monthly subscription to it, but don't got a job. And they got a housing, they got everything they need. That is an ABOD. And we're done with the ABODs. Let's see what this article says from USA Today. Trump isn't gutting Medicaid and food stamps. He's fixing our broken welfare system. This is actually we'll have some pro and some USA Today. I mean, this is an op-ed and it says op-ed. It's funny when it's like anti-Trump, they won't say anything about it being an op-ed. But when it is about Trump, it says opinion. Look, I'll show you. If it's a positive thing about Trump, it says Trump isn't gutting Medicaid and food stamps. He's fixing our broken welfare system. Opinion, op-ed. Make sure you know this is just an opinion of Hayden DuBois, an opinion contributor. He contributes his opinion. Isn't that like what all journal? I mean, well, I guess not. There's some neutral journalism. Some journalisming is neutral, but you should have a truck and a trailer before a PS5. Yeah, you should have a lawnmower and a leaf blower. And even if you don't have a truck, because a lot of these guys can't get driver's licenses because when they're young boys, they get diagnosed with some crazy mental illness because their mama is a hypochondriac with Munchausen syndrome. And they get the young boys on drugs at a young age. And by the time they're adults, they really are screwed up in the head and they can't drive a car. Like, I'm not going to say names, but I got some homeboys that they have no business being behind the wheel of a vehicle ever. You can't get a gun. You can't get a car. But you know what you can do? You can get yourself a rake and a shovel and a leaf blower, and you can start knocking doors, and you can find work. I used to do that when I was a hobo. I stayed at this lady's house, and she had a bunch of like lawn equipment, and I did some yard work for this lady. She's like, "Wow, you did a really good job. I'm gonna put you on Lindsay's list." And I was like, "What's Lindsay's list? Am I gonna get a date?" She's like, "No, it's for work." And I said, "All right, I like work. I ain't never been scared of work. Let's do some work." She put me on Lindsay's list and put a good referral, and I started getting calls. I had my own little landscaping dealio going for a little while there, and it was all within walking distance. I lived up in the avenues, and I had like 5 clients each week, and I would just walk to this house this day, walk to this house this day, pushing a lawnmower with me down the street, mow a dang lawn. Blow some leaves, pause. Then you can go up and down the block raking and blowing for money. Yes. That does sound like hooking. It does sound a little like hooking. On my mama. On my mama. On my hood. I look fly. I look good. Who was that guy? That was a good song. Let's see what this video is talking about. The music. How'd you be President Donald Trump spending oil? Okay. changes to Medicaid, which covers nearly 79 million Americans. I don't want to watch this
program
video.
for low-income families and the disabled.
The motion is adopted.
The bill, passed by both chambers of Congress, would cut $1 trillion, mostly from Medicaid and Affordable Care Act plans, over the next decade. The Congressional Budget Office estimates $11.8 million
$1 million over 10 years? That's like nothing.
Americans could lose their coverage. Another 5 million may be affected if COVID-era.
Did I read that? Did I hear that wrong or read that wrong? They're cutting $1 million from Medicaid over the next 10 years, but 11.8 million Americans are going to lose their coverage. Hold on. I'm not very good at math, but what does that mean? Each of those people is getting 11.8. 1 divided by 11.8. That mean, what does that mean? Each person's getting $100,000 a year? Maybe that sounds about right.
Insurance subsidies expire. Health experts call it a rollback on Obama's Affordable Care Act, saying it reverses progress towards universal health coverage.
Literally nothing.
Republicans argue the changes are needed to protect taxpayers and promote work among Medicaid recipients.
Yeah.
Starting in 2027, Medicaid expansion states must verify eligibility twice a year.
I was listening to the debate on Raging Tomato the other day, and Coder and what's that? Pom Pom or whatever his name was. they were like, it's going to be paperwork. We got to do paper. Shut the fuck up about paperwork. Are you really complaining about they got to do paperwork now? Oh my God. You always had to do paperwork. And guess what? They got DWF places where you go down there and you sit down in a little cubicle with a little state worker and they do all the paperwork for you. You don't even have to do the paperwork and it's free. You just go in there, you say, hey, I want some food stamps. You have a grocery list of free stuff you want, and you sit down at the little cubicle with the lady, and she'll get you all the free stuff. You don't even got to do the... No, his name is Pom Pom.
And require able-bodied adults to work 80 hours a month.
Let's go. 80 hours a month. Bro, if we end tax on overtime, I'll be working 80 hours a day. All right? I'm telling you.
Qualify for an exemption. Consumer advocates warn millions losing coverage could drive up medical debt for struggling families.
Thank you. Don't click on that. Stop it. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act claims to connect welfare to work requirements. Let's go. And I've been saying that. Me and one of my friends who is homeless and on this stuff, we've talked before, and he told me, he's like, I want to work. And by the way, I think this is kind of BS. I don't think he does want to work, but he says, I want to work, but I can't because I'll lose all of my benefits. I'll lose my food stamps. I'll lose my housing. I'll lose my monthly, what is it? Social Security or Medicare, or whatever he gets, because he can't work because of mental things. Can't work. So, but he loses all that if he gets a job. And he said to me before, I wish it wasn't like that. You should have to work to get benefits. So even homeless people have said this, but I think a lot of them are just BSing. They don't want to work, but the money going up. That's right. It's a simple question with an obvious answer. Should Americans work as a condition to receive welfare? I've argued this with I argued this on VK with Effigy a long time ago. We were talking about this. And I was like, if we're going to do welfare, I really don't think we should do it at all. But if we're going to do it, then you should have to have a job and you should get drug tested. You should get drug tested every month or random drug testing to make sure you're not on drugs, because a large number of people do 50 cents on the dollar for their food stamps and they sell their food stamp for drugs. They do. It's a fact. So if you want If you want welfare, you got to have a job. You got to be 20 hours a week. That's nothing. That's not that hard. 20 hours a week at McDonald's. It's not that difficult. It's going to help you. It's going to help you with your social skills. It's going to help you with money management. Get a job. Just get a job, any job. 20 hours a week. Not that hard. And then you get your little welfare. And if you want, and you should be drug tested. They should have put that in the bill. They would have asked me, I would have said, yeah, drug test them too. You don't get to be high on meth and heroin collecting a check from the taxpayer. Nope. Nope. No more of that. And before this happened, a lot of liberals would have agreed to this. They would have been like, yeah, that's reasonable. That 20 hours a week, drug test for welfare, you know, I would agree to that. But then as soon as Trump does it, oh my God, he's gutting Medicaid. They taking our turf. More than 2/3 of Americans respond with a resounding yes. So this is popular because it's reasonable. It makes sense. 66% of Americans say yes. If you want to be on the taxpayer dole, get a job. But when Trump does it, all of a sudden, we got riots. We got people losing their damn minds. Low IQ idiots saying, oh my God, he's going to lock up all the homeless people. We'll get to that. That's the next story. The biggest welfare program, Medicaid, has been disconnected from helping its 84.6 million recipients. Damn. Out of 330 million Americans, 84.6 million are welfare recipients. Maybe just give everybody, if we're going to do this, just give everybody welfare. And then you might as well give nobody welfare. Right? Either everybody or nobody. I vote for nobody. And while the food stamps program technically has work requirements, no, it doesn't. Well, maybe in some places, but every place I've seen food stamps, if you work, you lose some of your food stamps. And that's why they don't want to work. They're inconsistently enforced for the 42 million people who benefit from the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. And it ain't nutritional. Poor people don't buy beef Wellington with their food stamps. They buy damn Nutty Buddy bars, Mountain Dew, and Doritos. That's a fact too. You ever seen a poor person grocery shopping with food stamps? Next time you're in checkout at a grocery store and you see somebody paying with a SNAP card, look at what's in their cart. They ain't got no bananas. They ain't got no beef, chicken. They got damn Doritos, Hobos, and Mountain Dew. First you get the money, then you get the power. First you get the money, then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, you get the women. That's right. The result, tens of millions of people, especially able-bodied adults, have been trapped in government dependency. It's not government dependency, it's taxpayer dependency. But they deserve the chance to become self-sufficient. Well, they had that chance. They chose to live off the taxpayer dollar. But they deserve the chance. I already read that. They deserve to fully share in our country's progress. They deserve to shape that progress while pursuing their own American dream. I mean, we just got a new American dream now. The American dream now is I can go get an apartment and food, clothing, and shelter while playing video games for free. Yep, that's the American dream now. Trump is fixing the broken welfare. That's why Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act is so important. The president and Republicans in Congress have started to fundamentally fix America's broken welfare system. They're finally connecting welfare to work. Seems like a simple solution to me. And you know what you're going to see. And this is why this has to be paired with the bringing back the asylums and making homelessness quote unquote illegal. We're going to get to this, by the way. He's not making being homeless illegal. I see people on my Facebook who are losing their damn minds saying, "Oh my God, they're gonna put all the homeless people in concentration camps." That's not what's gonna happen. But you have to tie this to that, because what's gonna happen is they still don't want to work. So instead, they don't work. They're able-bodied young men, and instead of getting a job, they're just gonna lose their benefits, and then they're gonna be back on the street. They were on the street. They got housed. They got all the benefits. They're living high on the hog. And then when they say, "Hey, you want to keep playing fucking Final Fantasy all day for free? You're going to have to get a job." A job? I don't want to get a job. And they're going to end up back on the streets. Once they end up back on the streets, then we got to fix that problem. Well, if you're so mentally whacked out that you would rather be on the streets than work 20 hours a week, you should probably be in some sort of facility. Just saying. I'm just saying. Come on now. I always tell the truth even when I lie. What's wrong with you, Rome? Unfortunately, many Americans haven't heard this side of the story. They've been told by virtually every politician on the left, as well as a few loud voices on the right, and media, and every CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, CBS, all of them, that they're all going to be put in concentration camps, and they're going to gut their Medicaid. They're gutting the system. Nothing could be further from the truth. In reality, the president has preserved the core of the safety net for the truly vulnerable. They'll point to these actually capitalist nations, Scandinavian countries like Denmark and Norway and Sweden, and they'll say, "That's a good example of a socialist system." That's not a socialist system, dumbass. That's a capitalist system that has good social safety nets because America pays for their military. They don't have to pay for defenses. America takes care of all that. You have a homogenous, small population, people that are living like in farmlands, like raising sheep and stuff. Shout out, Cat. Sheep farmers in the mountains in a country where, spoiler alert, shout out White History Month, everybody's white. Everybody has the same ideology. It's small population in a country up in the mountains somewhere. And their defenses are taken care of by America. And then they can have social safety nets. They're still a capitalist country. It's not China. What up? Mentriosa venenosa. I don't know what that means. Is that a magic? Are you doing a spell on me, Lord Spike? That's the point of the safety net, to support the people who've fallen on hard times than to help them move on to better times. It was never meant to be a hammock, yet that's what it's become, trapping millions of people in generational dependency. I like that. That's a good analogy. You ever laid down in a hammock and you're like stuck? It like closes. Dude, hammocks kind of scare me because they like close up around you. Can't get out. You can't get out of the hammock, but they're mighty comfortable, but you can't get out. You get comfy, but you're stuck, like Chuck. Google lowest population and more there. Google lowest population and move there. Yeah. Or like Hungary and Poland. And yeah, it's crazy. These countries where everybody's white, they're they're able to take care of their community better, and the happiness metric is off the chart. It's crazy. It's crazy when you don't have like roving gangs of Muslims stabbing people and blacks playing the knockout games, that people are more happy. Shocker. Who would have thunk it? Sorry, am I sounding extra racist today? It's the last show of White History Month. My bad. The camping hammock is nice. I know, I got one. I did a review on it. It's on the channel. Check it out. What is okay, so that's a pro-Trump article. What is this? This is cms.gov. We got a .gov here. Got a .gov, you know. In case you missed it, I don't like when .govs use acronyms like ICYMI. In case you missed it, FYI, LOL. Racist. In case you missed it, Trump leadership, semicolon, semicolon. In case you missed it, semicolon, Trump leadership, semicolon. If you want welfare and can work, you must. As originally published in the New York Times opinion by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Mehmet Oz, Brooke Rollins, and Scott Turner. Oz? Dr. Oz is involved in this? I'm not a fan. America's welfare programs were created with a noble purpose, to help those who needed them most. Our seniors, individuals with disabilities, which is everybody now, pregnant women, and low-income, there's no pregnant women anymore, so low-income families with children, that's every family. They're all low-income. Dude, when I watch these, like, Explore With Us, or JC, the murder interrogations, it's always like a crackhead husband and wife who like murdered some guy, and they always got like 6 kids. I'm like, how is this nasty ass couple out here making babies? I'm trying to make some babies. How are they making all these babies? Shout out Idiocracy. In recent years, though, these welfare programs have deviated from their original mission, both by drift and by design. Millions of able-bodied adults have been added to the rolls in the past decade, primarily as a result of Medicaid expansion. Many of these recipients are working-aged individuals without children who might remain on welfare for years, their whole life. They ain't getting off. They're lifers. Some of them do. It's like the methadone clinic. You become a lifer. They lock you in there. I know. I love watching interrogations too. I think it's kind of feminine. I know. I know women watch. I watch a lot of that stuff too, and usually that's a woman thing. But I can't help it, guys. I just like getting into the minds of psychos. I can relate. You know. Upgraded within 2 Ds for a double dose of his pimpage. Upgrade. What does that mean? I don't know what you're talking about, Rob. Many of these recipients, blah, 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 blah. The increased share of welfare spending dedicated to able-bodied working-age adults distracts from what should be the focus of these programs, the truly needy. This should not be the American way of welfare. That's why we are joining efforts to require able-bodied. Dude, here's what you do. If you fall on hard times, because there is a certain percentage of the homeless population, and I've looked at the numbers. I don't believe in the numbers. And I didn't prepare this, but I'll tell you why. Like, they'll say something like, the numbers will say something like 50% of the homeless population is on drugs, hardcore drugs. And then 30% of the homeless population is actually disabled people. Like, you ain't got no arms and no legs. Or you're like, have half a brain or something. And you're really disabled. You're like disabled. Not like fake disabled, like real disabled. And then 20% of the homeless population are people who just fell on hard times. Often it's men who get divorced and the wife takes everything, takes the kids, takes the house. Guy ends up on the street, ends up overdosing and dying. Seen it happen to my friends. It's happened a lot. Happens all the time. But the thing is, when they do those studies and those polls and stuff, some of the homeless people are smart enough to know, if I want benefits and if I want all these things, when I do the little survey, I shouldn't say that I'm on drugs. I should say I'm not on drugs. I should say I just fell on hard times. Then I'm more likely to get my benefits. If I tell them that I'm on heroin or fentanyl, I'm not going to get the benefits. So they don't mark that box that says, are you on drugs? No, they don't mark that box. And that's why I think the numbers are skewed. I think it's probably like 80%, 90% of them are on heavy drugs. So they're making a choice, a personal choice to be homeless. And then when you build a shelter, they don't want to go in the shelter because the shelter got rules. You can't shoot up in the shelter. There's security that walks around and they'll take you to jail. So they don't go to the shelter. They stay on the streets. And where was the point I was going with this? I was going somewhere with this. But anyway, they're on drugs. That's the point. This should not be, I already read that. With some exceptions to get jobs. That's why we're joining efforts to require able-bodied adults defined as adults who have not been certified as physically or mentally unfit to work. But that's a problem too. A lot of these guys are classified as mentally unable to work. These are young 20, 30-year-old men who have been on medications for their whole life. And in a lot of cases, they really are screwed up because they've been on medication since they were a little boy. And they really are mentally disabled, quote unquote, mentally disabled. And that's how they get around it. So they're still gonna take advantage of the system. Now there's just gonna be more incentive to convince the state-paid psychologist woman who just got out of fucking grad school to sit there and say, well, how does that make you feel? And say, well, it makes me feel like I want to murder somebody. And then you get, oh yeah, let's do a goal. I forgot to do a goal. Thank you, Gorilla Biscuits. Small goal. Small goal. If I can, hold up. 5 super chats. $2. We say, yay. Start goal. Okay, we got a goal. We got a goal, chat. Some dude got a membership. I've been broke my whole life. Now money right. As leaders of the agencies that oversee the largest welfare programs in the nation, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, Medicaid, and Federal Housing Assistance, among others, we see the data, hear the stories, and understand that these programs are failing to deliver results. For able-bodied adults, welfare should be a short-term hand up, not a lifetime handout. Oh, that's where I was going. Okay. If you get drug tested and you're actually not on drugs, and you have fallen, and you're a young man who has fallen on hard times, your wife left you, she took the house, she took the kids, you're actually, quote-unquote, depressed, you're like thinking about ending it, and you're in a rough spot. Thank you, Gorilla Biscuits. Then what we do is we give you the assistance for a limited time. Let's say you're not going to get housing. You need to stay at the shelter, and you need to check into the shelter every night so that we know that you're actually staying in the shelter. Check into the shelter every night so that we see that you're sleeping somewhere and that you're not out running the streets. And you get this for a year. You're going to get food stamps, and you're going to get some sort of little check every month. You don't need a big check because you don't have any bills to pay, but you need enough to save up a little money. We're gonna teach you how to save money. You're gonna want to save this money. You have food stamps, so you don't got to pay for food. You don't got no bills. Take this little check we give you every month, and you get it for a year. Check into the shelter every night. Pass some drug tests. And then in a year, you should have enough money to save that we're going to help you get an apartment and a job. And you got to find a job during that year. Then within a year, they got a job. They got money saved for a down payment on an apartment. And we cut the welfare at a year. And then they take it from there. Get them back on their feet. That's how it should work. It's not that complicated. Drug test, check into the shelter every night, get a job. We'll give you some money. We'll help you open a bank account, help you get an ID. That is a difficult thing for homeless people, is getting ID, because most of them don't have any paperwork. They've lost everything. They don't have their social. They don't have their birth certificate. They don't have an ID. And it's a crazy process in some states to get an ID. You're going to need a mailing address. You're going to need to jump through all these hoops to get an ID. We have services and by the way, everything I'm saying, we already got a lot of this. We got services that will help you get an ID. We got services that you don't even got to fill out the paperwork. You just go there and they'll fill out the paperwork for you. They'll help you get an ID. They'll help you get a job. They'll help you start a bank account. They'll help you get into housing. You do all that for a year while you get your little check. You pass some drug tests. You're back on your feet. Now, if you're just out there running amok, doing fentanyl on the corner and sleeping in a tent at night, fuck them. Sorry about it. Sorry about it. You're going to the asylum. What's this say? Look at this graph. Most able-bodied adults on food stamps do not work at all. Work status among childless adult food stamp enrollees without disabilities between the ages of 18 and 52. Bro, that's fighting age. 23% work full-time. 23% are working part-time. 74% are not working. This is actually crazy because I don't have it pulled up, but I've looked at the stat before. The majority of homeless men are working. They have jobs and they're working. So maybe a lot of them aren't on food stamps, or I don't know. I haven't looked at that number in a while, but the number used to be that like more than half of the homeless men you see have jobs. When I was homeless, I always had a job. People are like, how do you buy a cell phone? Well, I go to work. I have a job. A lot of homeless men have jobs. But I guess that's probably because you become homeless and you're like, dang, I got to get a job now. Or you have a job when you become homeless and you just keep going to your job. But once they start giving you handouts, you're incentivized not to work. If I was on food stamps and had free housing and had a check coming every month, I wouldn't need to work. But I didn't have any of that. So I worked. It's crazy how that works. 74% of able-bodied adults on food stamps are not working. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is not a good system. And these stupid liberals who argue against this would have been on the side of this if Joe Biden wanted to do it, if Kamala Harris wanted to do it, if Obama wanted to do it. They would have totally agreed with it. But when Trump does it, whoa. Not the orange man. What's up, producer? Gracias, hombre de monkeys grande. Oh, Matthew sent a super chat too. Make asylums great again. Wait till I get my money right. That's 2 of 5 of the goal. Okay. What to know about civil commitment, Trump's new policy for homelessness. So this leads us into here. And this is the one where the homeless people or the people who mooch off of the taxpayer, I'm trying to stop myself from saying off the government, because it's not the government they're mooching off of. They're mooching off of you and I. Civil commitment, Trump's new policy for homelessness. Now, I've been seeing, they're not going to let me read it on Axios. Well, F you, Axios. President Trump's new executive order to combat homelessness encourages local governments to revive civil commitment, a process to place people with mental health issues in treatment facilities without their consent. And I already see homeless or formerly homeless people on my Facebook losing their minds about this. They're afraid. make homeless afraid again. And it's working. I think that they're misinformed. They're probably low IQ, and they see some stuff on TikTok, and they're like, "Oh my God, all of the homeless people are going to Auschwitz." No, you idiot! Shut up. Shut up. He's just gonna tear down. Have you seen these camps in California and Seattle? We had one in Salt Lake City. They shut it down, where the whole block is an open air drug market with tents everywhere. People shitting in. Oh, sorry, my camera's following me now. Camera, stop it, camera. They're shitting in the streets. There's needles everywhere. People doing drugs out in the open. No more of that. That's got to stop. But I promise you, they're still going to, if you're like a lone wolf who carries his backpack, sets up his tent at night, sleeps in it, picks up after yourself, cleans up after yourself. Dude, it's crazy how these people are hoarders and they don't have, I've seen a couple with 4 shopping carts tied together, and each shopping cart had a mountain of stuff in it. And 98% of that stuff is just garbage. They're just picking up, they're hoarding garbage. And then at night, they set up their camp, they set up their carts like a, what's it called when they said, rally the wagons, and they'd put all the wagons together when the Indians were coming. They make a corral. Is it a corral? Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera back to where it was. Right there. No. Right there. They'll set up a corral of shopping carts with a bunch of tents in the middle. What up, Abe? But then they leave so much trash. There's so much trash. How do you guys accumulate so much garbage? These are the people that are going to get locked up. The people that are just, they're down on their luck. They got a tent. They set it up at night. They put it away in the morning. They go to their job until they can get out of being homelessness. Spoiler alert, I've been there. It can be done. It's not that hard. Those people are not going to be getting locked up or sent to mental asylums. The crazy guy that runs around with no shirt on. Oh my God, we got this one homeless guy who's been wearing the same pair of sweatpants for like 6 years. And there's holes all in his sweatpants. And he walks around the street holding up his pants because they're too big for him. And there's holes in the ass. You could just see his ass and his nuts hanging. And he's walking around children. And he stinks. Every time I see that guy, I want to punch him in his face. Because I'm like, dude, go get some new pants. Kids are out here and your nuts are hanging. We see your whole ass with shit on your pants and your nuts hanging. I want to have to restrain myself. That guy should be in an asylum somewhere. That guy should not be walking around the streets. Nope. Sorry about it. Axios isn't going to let me read the article. Let me see this.
Hi, I'm Laura Durham, and our August
that's an ad.
pledge drive is rapidly approaching. Once again,
We'll watch the video in a second. President Trump signed an executive order that makes it easier for states to remove homeless encampments and force unhoused people into mental health or addiction treatment programs. Homeless rates if you don't have a mental illness or a drug addiction problem and you're not staying in some big nasty encampment, you're going to be fine. Hobos. You're going to be all right. Also, a lot of states and cities aren't even going to follow this. This is just an executive order that gives the states the right to do that. We still have state rights. The Democrat cities and the Democrat states are still going to the sanctuary cities, they're still going to let the hobos commune in the freaking town square. People think he's just going to start locking up all the homeless people. These people are idiots.
States to remove homeless encampments and force homeless people into mental health or addiction treatment programs. Our Lisa Desjardins explains.
President Trump's order
easier for states to do that if the state chooses to do it. A lot of states still aren't going to choose to do that. And when I see these formerly homeless people on Facebook crying about this, do you know what city you live in? Salt Lake City? Our Marxist gender studies mayor is not going to do anything. This is not going to change anything. There's still going to be homeless people everywhere, which every time the mayor posts on Facebook, all the responses, you can go through the comments, all of the comments are, we don't care that you're building another park. We don't care that you're making another art installment. We don't care that you made a diversity, equity, and inclusion police force. We don't care about your your gay flag. We don't care about any of that. We care about the fact that there's homeless people and needles everywhere. We don't care about the new bike path because that new bike path is Hobo Alley now. Nobody wants to ride on the bike path because there's homeless people all over it and needles and drugs and shit everywhere. And that's not going to change. She's not going to make any changes because of this bill. Oh.
Lays out his goal clearly. He wants to move more people who are homeless into long-term institutions and hospitals, including involuntarily. He also plans a dramatic shift in federal funds, away from programs that place people into housing first and instead pushing for tougher, immediate requirements for treatment. Homeless rates have been steadily rising since 2017. A federal count found that more than 770,000 people were living in shelters or outside on a...
And I will say this, forced rehab for drug addicts doesn't work. It may work for some, but largely it doesn't work. And what ends up happening is you get forced into a rehab, you get clean for 3 months, 30 days, 90 days, however long you're in there for. You get out, and then you've lost your tolerance, but you use the same amount you were used to using before, and you die from an overdose. This happens a whole lot. But you know what? They're not on the streets. They ain't on the streets anymore, so, I can see a point to it.
A single night last year. For more on this latest executive action and
Happy White History Month, Yoda.
I'm joined by David Ovalle, reporter focusing on opioids and addictions for the Washington Post. There is a great deal in this order, David. First, does President Trump have the power to either encourage or tell states that they need to put more people in institutions, even involuntarily?
Well, no, not specifically, and that's one of the interesting things about this order is that they're really trying to incentivize and push states into doing this. Remember, states set their particular.
She just said, can he push states to do this? And he's like, no, he can't push states to do this. He's just trying to incentivize and push states to do this. Just say what I just said. It makes it so states can do it, and it encourages them to do it. It's not forcing anybody to do this.
Laws, they set their criteria for how they handle involuntary commitments. So really, this is a state issue, but the federal government certainly has a lot of sway.
Look at that, the whole street. This is the sidewalk. This is the sidewalk. I should not go to any city in America and have to avoid a whole 4-block section of the city because you can't walk down the sidewalk without a crackhead accosting you.
And they can, for example, in the executive order, they talk about prioritizing grants for states or jurisdictions that comply with this order and
look at all the stuff.
Drug use,
Bro, when I was homeless, everything I owned was in a backpack. My biggest viewed video is the second video I ever made on my channel, and I have a backpack, and I showed you my loadout of what I carried. That's everything I needed. Now, in Salt Lake City, we had a place where homeless people could store their stuff. Basically, they'd give you a trash can, a big green trash can, and you'd go into this warehouse, and you go to a table, you check in, and then you get to go to your trash can, and it was just rows and rows and rows of trash cans lined up. And each trash can was assigned to a person, and you could store your stuff in a trash can. So you got a big green trash can. You could put all your stuff that you don't want to carry into there, and then the rest fits on your back. That's it. That should be everything you own. If you own this much shit, you're doing homeless wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're prepared to live this way forever. You're not trying to stop.
Other things to combat quote unquote vagrancy on streets. So certainly there are sort of incentives they can do to kind of push states to doing this, and certainly.
And they say they're making homelessness illegal. Loitering and vagrancy, they're turning homeless people into criminals. Loitering and vagrancy is already a crime. You're committing a crime if you have an encampment set up on the sidewalk in front of a shop and the shop gets closed because nobody wants to shop there anymore. You've already committed a crime. You are a criminal.
Trump has a lot of sway, particularly among red states. So if states feel like they're going to benefit by implementing a more robust involuntary commitment program, then they just might.
The problem is the red states they've already figured out most of this problem. It's the blue cities in the red states. It's the blue states with lots of blue cities. It's the blue cities in the red states. Places like Appalachia, yes, there are a lot of poor and homeless people in Southern America, in the East Coast. There's a lot of homeless people, but you know what? They're living in the woods. Nobody sees them. Out of sight, out of mind. They're not taking up the whole sidewalk for a block where people can't walk anymore. They're in the woods somewhere. And it's not a big deal. If you're going to be homeless, that's the way to do it. Go live in the woods somewhere. That's what one of my friends did. During the summer, I know a couple guys that they're homeless and they don't bother anybody because they live up in the mountains. They're living the life that, like, I would love to live that life. Just have a camp in the mountains somewhere. Go fishing every day. Be in the nature. The problem is, if you're living that lifestyle, you don't get video games. You don't get air conditioning. And then when it gets cold, you better figure something out because it gets cold, boy.
What does President Trump say he is trying to do here, and how does that mesh with what we know about substance abuse and mental illness in this population in particular?
Well, I think
I'm not even going to have time to get to any. We don't even have memes today, but I'm still not going to have time to get to everything because we may have to do a special TDC this week because I got a lot of stuff to get to today, and we're not going to get to any of it because this is an important issue to me. This stuff, this is like what my channel was built off of, was homeless issues. This is like social issues and stuff. If you ask me what's the most important thing to me, if I was ever like getting involved in a charity or something or activism or anything like that, what would I try to get involved with helping? It would be homelessness and drug addiction. Those are like my two biggest things that I'm interested in. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but one of like my dreams, if I was rich, I would buy a large swath of land and I would set up camping spaces and I would have running it'd be like a campground, basically. You'd have a water hookup and an electrical hookup. And I would let homeless people come in and set up their tents. And they'd all have a spot. And we would have rules. I would have a guy who is security. If you get drunk or if you're doing drugs, you're out. And while you're here, you get to stay here for a certain amount of time. And we're going to help you find a job. And you need to get a job. Once you get a job, we extend how long you can stay there. But eventually there's a max for everybody. We'll help you figure out how to get an apartment, help you figure out how to save money, all that stuff. That would be something that if I was ever going to have like a nonprofit or a charity or something like that, that's what I would want to do. But the problem is in places like California, this is not, other people have done this already. You know, it's not like a super original idea. But other people have tried to do this in places like California, and the zoning and the taxes and all the red tape you have to go through, the hoops you have to jump through to set up something like this. I forget who was talking about it, but he said he wanted to do something like this in California. He said he would need $1 billion to start setting these up in California, just because of all the crap you have to go through to do it. Now, maybe he was exaggerating. I don't know. But basically what he's saying is it would be so expensive to set something like this up in California. You could do it you could probably do one in Utah. I think they already have tiny house villages here in Utah. But I think the tiny houses, like they have I've actually wanted to go visit it and make a video going to visit it. But it's a tiny house village where there are a bunch of storage containers, and they move homeless people into there. In each storage container, you see them where like on TikTok and shorts and stuff, they'll turn a storage container into a little tiny house. They've done that, and they have like small homeless cities where everything's a tiny house. But the problem is that's too much. That's too much, and that's too nice. All I would do is a water hookup and an electrical hookup, and then you bring your own tent. You don't get a whole damn tiny house. You're going to have to get your own tiny house. The Bears welcome squatters.
Trump's message is something that does resonate with a lot of people, particularly as we've seen in cities where there are people camped out on sidewalks, where there are people who are clearly grappling with mental illness in a very visible public way.
With mental
and
illness.
So, you know, whether you're seeing it firsthand or you're watching it on TV, certainly this is something that concerns people, right? But of course, in a very Trump way, it's also sort of loaded with very fear-inducing language, right? It's, you know, vagrancy. It's people are,
It is.
you know, having violent confrontations on the street. And
They do.
When you talk to advocates for the homeless, advocates for people with who are dealing with mental illness, you know, they point out that most people that are dealing with mental illness.
This is why I couldn't get involved in this stuff, because I don't speak this language of grappling with mental illness, and I'm a homeless advocate. I'm not an advocate for the homelessness. For homeless, I'm not advocating for homelessness. I want it to stop. Why are you advocating for homelessness? Stop advocating for it and help end it. Stop speaking this enabling language. Well, they're grappling with mental illness. No, they're shitting on the streets and punching random people in the face. Lock them up.
Are not, you know, getting arrested. They're not, you know, violently lashing out at people. But it's when these things happen,
That bitch is ugly.
in a very high-profile way, like we've seen happen in New York City, for example. You know, they you know, tends to grab a lot of headlines. So these are real fears that manifest themselves in our cities, but
look how they all have
you know, really amped up by some of the rhetoric. These are real fears that
look how they all have the same tent. These tents are donated to them. And then what happens is the cops come through every now and then, and they'll usually give them, well, I don't know about in all these cities, but at least here in Utah, they'll give them a 24-hour warning. They'll say, tomorrow, we're bringing a bulldozer out here, and we're just going to we're going to bring a bulldozer and a dump truck. And if you're here tomorrow, we're going to get you out of your tent. And if you're still here, we're going to search your tent, and a lot of them end up going to jail because there's a lot of drugs and stuff. Dude, they find so much stolen property. Sometimes they find kidnapped children. Sometimes they find bodies. They find a lot of drugs. But they tell them, 24 hours, we're coming through here with a freaking a dozer and a dump truck, and they just drive through. And they scoop up all of it, and they put it in a dump truck. And then they get another free tent a week later from the people who donate the tents. So this is a huge waste of money right here.
manifest themselves in our cities, but
if there was a place where they could go and set up their tent that was somebody's property, this wouldn't be a problem. But then what you get, there was some people out here in Salt Lake City who had a big chunk of land, and they were letting homeless people stay on their property. And then a stabbing happened because they weren't doing any vetting of these people. They're just like, oh, I got a big front yard. You're homeless? Why don't you put your tent in my front yard and you'll be all right? And then soon they have 10 tents of homeless people in their front yard. And these people are all doing drugs. They're all crazy. And then somebody gets stabbed and killed in your front yard. And now you're liable. Good job, dumbass.
It kind of gets, really amped up by
some
of the
chick
rhetoric.
found her dead
Where are
mom
the
in one of those
advocates
tents.
on
Yeah.
detention here? Obviously, there's a public.
Yeah. And these homeless advocates won't talk about that stuff. They'll say, yesterday the police came through and they wiped out an entire encampment. And it's like, why aren't you talking about the fact that 12 people got arrested for drug possession, for like sales amount of drugs? They found a kidnapped little girl and they found 2 dead bodies. Why don't you mention that?
Concern, you talked about that, but what are their concerns about this idea of stepped up involuntarily moving people into hospitals?
Well, I think the overarching fear is that we might return to, decades, to policies of decades past where people were unjustly and unfairly being held in asylums for, months and years against their will and not really getting the...
Dude, he was just talking about fear-mongering language, this Trump fear-mongering language. You're fear-mongering right now, beta male.
Beta!
The right kind of treatment, or maybe they weren't supposed to be there in the first place. So that's sort of the overarching fear. But I think the fact that there's a lot of public health dollars that are being cut right now, and so some of that money, they say, should be better spent on helping people in treatment and not just locking them away.
It's so funny. They did B-roll of the rescue mission, and so it was a 3-second pan of the rescue mission, and all you hear is sirens. Of course. They tried all day to get a B-roll clip of the rescue mission without sirens in the background, but they couldn't do it. I guarantee you they couldn't do it.
Sort of indefinitely.
I spoke to a man who's almost 80 who's experiencing homelessness now, has for a long
Experiencing
time.
homelessness.
He is one of those roughly 1/3 in that population who's also dealt with serious mental illness, as we're talking about. And he said he just does not think there's room in the system.
I don't see, those numbers are such BS, because the 1/3 that are experiencing mental illness, they're probably mentally ill because they've been homeless drug addicts for their entire lives. Yeah, if you've been smoking crack on the streets for the past 20 years, you're going to be a little mentally ill. Yeah.
In the hospitals, in shelters, for these kinds of populations. What do we know about that?
Right. Well, there is limited bed space. And, in Florida, where I'm normally based, you see, there's been a lot of forensic hospitals that have closed because there has been this push in recent decades to get people out into the community and to get them getting treatment out in the community and not in a locked up facility. So there really is not a lot of bed space. And with budgets being strapped the way that they are these days, particularly with cuts coming from DC, it's going to state.
We need more money. We got to throw more money at the problem. That'll fix it.
States and communities are going to be hard pressed to really build those facilities and be able to meet the needs of the people that are looking to be that people want to put away.
David Avaya, thank you for your reporting on complex issues.
PBS NewsHour. Sounds like some commie gobbledygook. Trump, what is this? OPD.org. We got some .gov, some .orgs. It's almost like I don't just go to Fox. Wow. Have we done one Fox article yet today? Sorry, I'm attacking someone who's not here that I was arguing with on Facebook. Actually, I was just laugh reacting all their stupid posts. But then they freaked out. They're like, well, you're MAGA. You just watch Fox. It's like, okay, well, you're an idiot and you get your information from TikTok. President Donald Trump wants cities to force treatment on people with severe mental illness or addiction who are living outside. An executive order signed on Thursday aims to remove vagrant individuals from streets across the country and place them in long-term institutional settings to restore public order It's hard to immediately know what kind of impact the sweeping imprecise order will have on Oregonians. Oh yeah, this is from Oregon. You know, in Oregon and California, they're like, oh shit, this is over. What are we gonna do? We gotta get jobs now. People with serious mental illness are more likely to be victims of crime than to be a danger to anyone. What? Said Jake Cornett, executive director and CEO of Disability Rights Oregon. If we really wanted to make our community safer, we'd be investing billions in behavioral health services. Oh my God. The president's order came as Oregon cities are navigating new state policies around homelessness and civil commitment, which is the legal process for forcing people into medical care when they pose a risk to themselves or others, or they are unable to provide for their own basic needs. Last month, the Oregon legislature passed a bill that makes it easier to involuntarily commit people. For example, civil commitment used to require that potential risk from a mental illness be imminent to warrant civil commitment. The update law removes that standard, which has been accused of keeping people from getting help. Trump's new civil commitment order is more explicitly directed at people living without shelter. Not only does it apply to those who are at risk to themselves or others, but it also includes committing people who are living on the street and cannot care for themselves. National homeless advocacy groups, homeless advocacy. You advocate for homelessness. Sounds retarded. Say this signals the administration's desire to treat homelessness like a crime. This order does nothing to lower the cost of housing or help people make ends meet. Yeah, just raise the minimum wage, and that's gonna raise the minimum wage, and then housing will be more affordable. Well, how it seems like whenever we raise the minimum wage, housing costs go up. Huh? Seems like that doesn't work. You can't just throw money at the problem. They don't have jobs anyway. What's the point of raising the minimum wage when they're not working? Lowering housing costs? Well, the only way you're going to be able to pay for your... Dude, my camera's doing that flickering thing again. I got to open... If I open this, it'll stop. 1 second. All right, cool. Should stop now. Now I see a really big image of myself. I love it. What? Trump's crackdown on homelessness. What does it mean for California? See, I got these two articles. One is Oregon.org, .org from Oregon, and one is from California. California and Oregon, they're freaking out. Look at this. Look at this just trash. It's so... Come on now. Welcome to Cal Matters, the only nonprofit newsroom devoted solely to covering issues that affect all Californians. Sign up for What Matters to receive the latest news and commentary, most important issues in the Golden State. Shut up. President Donald Trump's new law and order approach to homelessness bears several striking resemblances to Governor Gavin Newsom's. What? Governor Gavin Newsom did a law and order approach to homelessness? When? When? I call BS on that. I don't know about all that. It's rare for Trump and Newsom, typically adversaries, to see eye to eye on anything, but when the president signed an executive order this week pushing cities and states to use law enforcement to get unhoused people off the streets, some of it read like deja vu to Californians. So Newsom did something. Well, I do remember Newsom signed the thing to bring back the asylums, but I feel like he's just posturing to get votes. Like, has he actually done anything? Except for when homeboy was coming over from whatever country. What was that? Like the Chinese dude or the Korean dude was coming to visit California, and he cleaned up all the streets and put like fences on the sidewalks. That's the only time he's cleaned up any homelessness. I don't know that there's a huge contrast between parts of this order and what winds are already blowing toward in California, said Ryan Finnegan. Poor old Ryan Finnegan, Deputy Director of Research for the UC Berkeley Turner Center for Housing Innovation. But Trump doesn't want to stop at banning homeless encampments and pushing people into treatment, and that's where he and Newsom diverge. The president wants to upend two core tenets of California's homeless policy. Trump wants to abolish federal support for housing first, which is the idea that homeless individuals should get housing even if they are still using drugs, and harm reduction, which focuses on preventing overdoses and otherwise making drug use safer. Right. All right. And those are horrible policies. You're going to put a homeless drug addict into a free apartment. They're just going to use more drugs. They're going to sell drugs out of their apartment. They're going to have other drug users staying in their apartment. And you know what happens is what happened here in Salt Lake City when they did this. Somebody cooks meth in their apartment and the whole apartment complex burns down. That's what happens. And harm reduction. Oh yeah, let's have needle centers and safe use centers. Danny, what's his name? Danny from YouTube. He went to one of these like shoot up centers in Seattle or California, where basically you can take your street drugs, you can go to this place, you can give them your street drugs, and they'll take your street drugs and give you clean drugs, stronger, more potent, cleaner pharmaceutical grade drugs, pharmaceutical grade heroin, pharmaceutical grade fentanyl. They'll give you that in exchange for your street baggie. So you buy a dime on the street, you go to the place, you go inside an air-conditioned building on a hot day, you give them your little baggie of street dope, then they give you clean pharmaceutical-grade heroin, and then they give you a rig, and they give you a spoon, a cooker. I've seen it. We won't go into that, but trust me, I know. They'll give you a little silver cooker thing with a copper wire that you twist around it to make a handle. They'll give you gauze. They'll give you a strap. They'll give you a rig. They'll usually give you like 5 rigs. And they'll give you matches. They'll give you cotton. They give you everything you need. They give you a little kit. We call it a kit. They give you a kit. You got everything you need in the kit. And then you're in a place. Then they'll have a doctor come out and slam you. They'll have, not a doctor, but a phlebotomist. They'll have a phlebotomist come out and hit you with the kit that they just gave you, with the drugs that they just gave you. And then you get to sit in a chair in air conditioning and nod out for a while. And Danny, the YouTube guy, he tried to go into one and drink. So he had a bottle of whiskey and he tried to go into one of these things and get drunk. And they're like, whoa, what are you doing in here? And he's like, I thought this was like the safe use center. I'm an alcoholic. I want to get drunk. They said, no, you're not allowed in here. So the drunks stay on the street, but we'll let the junkies shoot up in here and we'll help them do it. It's retarded, dude. It's retarded. It was Xi Jinping. Yeah. It's crazy. Here's the whitehouse.gov, and I think this will be the end of this. We're not going to get to any rapid fire news today. We're definitely not going to get to the UK stuff today. I'm not going to have time. Spent too much on that. Ending crime and disorder on America's streets. Let's read the actual statement from whitehouse.gov. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, Purpose and Policy. Endemic vagrancy, disorderly behavior, sudden confrontations, and violent attacks have made our cities unsafe. The number of individuals living on the streets in the United States on a single night during the last year of the previous administration was 274,224. It was the highest ever recorded, and I think that number is low. I think that's a low number. Maybe that's just on the streets because, like I said, there's a lot of people who are smart, if you can be a smart homeless person, who go out into the woods or stay out of sight. But this is like 274,000 people who are just on the corner, on the block, you know? Highest level ever recorded. The overwhelming majority of these individuals are addicted to drugs, have a mental health condition, or both. I mean, drug addiction is considered a mental health condition, by the way. Also, we still talking hobos? Yeah, I'm almost done with the hobos. Nearly 2/3 of homeless individuals report having regularly used hard drugs like methamphetamines, cocaine, or opioids in their lifetimes. Ain't nobody on the streets using cocaine, by the way. They're using crack, which I guess that is cocaine, but you know, damn well they ain't snorting no cocaine. They're smoking crack. Poquito. An equally large share of homeless individuals reported suffering from mental health conditions. The federal government and the states have spent tens of billions of dollars on failed programs that address homelessness, but not its root cause, leaving other citizens vulnerable to public safety threats. Shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the appropriate use of civil commitment will restore public order. Surrendering our cities and citizens to disorder and fear is neither compassionate to the homeless nor other citizens. My administration will take a new approach focused on protecting public safety. Section 2, restoring civil commitment. Attorney General, in consultation with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, shall take appropriate action to seek, in appropriate cases, the reversal of federal or state judicial precedents and the termination of consent decrees that impede the United States policy of encouraging civil commitment of individuals with mental illness who pose risk to themselves or the public or are living on the streets. Hey, we're getting to the goal. Thank you, Slutty Gorilla Biscuit. I've been broke my whole life. Now money right. 4, 5. It says I'm still at 3. Oh, Cat sent $2. I didn't even see that one. I've been broke my whole life. Now money right. It's not updating. It says we still need 2 more. We should be at the goal, but it's not. Let me refresh. It says 3 out of 5. We should be past 3 out of 5, but I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm not gonna read all this. We get it. We've been through it, but the timer ended. Oh, I forgot to change the timer. The timer was supposed to be 3 hours, and I left it on 30 minutes. Whoops. Well, we made it. We made the goal. Confetti. Confetti! Okay. Do you guys want to talk about Obama and Ghislaine? Or you want to go to rapid fire news? Because I want to talk about this Walmart thing. After accusing Obama, I'll just go through this real quick because I don't think anything's going to come. Well, something might come of the Ghislaine stuff, but as far as this Obama thing, I think Trump's just talking big. I don't think anything's going to happen with this, but he accused Obama of treason, which is punishable by death. After accusing Obama of treason, this is from USA Today, Trump now says the former president owes me big. He owes me very bigly. Bigly debt. He owes a bigly debt. Donald Trump has been intensely focused on Barack Obama in recent days. They say this is just a distraction to distract from the fact that Ghislaine, the songbird, is singing from her cell. And people are like, Trump is named in the Epstein files. No, duh. No, duh. We've known that. We've known that for 5 years. Everybody knew that already. But now she's talking. She's trying to get out of jail, basically. I watched her brother on Piers Morgan, and it was a crazy interview. Her brother is saying, basically, she wants to get out of jail. So she's going to say what she needs to say to try to get out of jail. And a lot of people are saying, you know, the GOP might want her to leave Trump's name out of it, and then she can get some immunity. She was actually already supposed to what they're arguing in the appeals to get her out of jail is that when Epstein got his charges in 2016, I can't remember when, but she was supposed to get immunity. Everybody involved was supposed to have immunity. So then when they came after her and put her in jail, they're saying they couldn't do that because she had immunity. And now she's trying to get out of jail. Maxwell, who is facing defamation lawsuit from the late Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre Roberts, was being deposed by attorneys and seemed to grow incensed during the questioning. I'm going to put on record, Miss Maxwell very inappropriately and very harshly pounded our law firm table in an inappropriate manner. Yeah, early one afternoon in April of 2016, Ghislaine Maxwell got so angry she struck a table. But she got immunity, but then they still charged her in 2020-ish. Twice this week, Maxwell met with Deputy U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche as Donald Trump continues to contend with the political uproar over his Justice Department's handling of files related to Epstein. So this is what's going to happen. Y'all cried and whined about release the Epstein list, release the Epstein list. You know what's going to happen? Ghislaine's going to get out of prison. They're going to release a list. They're going to release a doctored list to make people happy, to make the public happy. Nothing's going to happen to anybody on the list. And Ghislaine's going to get out of prison. Good job. Oh, he's just a Trumper. Trump could do no wrong. He's just a Trumper. No. That's not the case. I'm trying to think about this logically. It doesn't make sense to release this list to the public. It makes sense to go after them privately, keep it covert, let the government agencies do their job and go after these people in secrecy, do some black ops. Don't release this list to the public because the public en masse is retarded. But you cry about getting the list released so much, Trump's like, well, we got to do something. They're all mad at me. I think it's a witch hunt. It's a hoax, as usual, but everybody agrees. You got freaking Nick Fuentes agreeing with David Pakman. That's not, you don't want to be in that crowd. And now Ghislaine Maxwell is going to get out of prison. Was it worth it? Just so you could have a list of names and nothing happens to those people? It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Anyway, I don't really care about, I don't even want to talk about this, but she's met twice with them. Lawyer says DOJ asked her roughly about 100 different people on the second day of the interview. She was asked maybe about 100 different people. She answered questions about everybody, and she didn't hold anything back. They asked about every possible thing you could imagine. She's serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role in helping Epstein recruit, groom, and abuse underage girls. They met Thursday and Friday with Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General. Blanche said Thursday the Justice Department would share more about what the government learned in those meetings at the appropriate time. Trump administration has struggled to deal with the backlash over his handling of the Epstein case after several officials, including President Trump, spent years pressing for the release of more details. But a recent Justice Department review concluded Epstein did not have a client list and confirmed he died of suicide in jail in 2019. See, that is probably BS. I'm sure. I mean, it's well known that they had an address book at least. But the problem is people want a client list. Well, the client list is going to be his address book, his little black book. That little black book has a lot of powerful people's information in it. Doesn't mean they're all clients. People want the names on that list released. And what you do when you release that to the public is you screw up the case. On the people who are actually clients, who are actually doing horrible, nasty, weird stuff, you screw up that whole investigation when you release that whole list to the public. And that's what they were trying to avoid. But because of public outcry and Trump being a populist wants to please the public, Ghislaine Maxwell is going to end up getting out of prison. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But if she gets let out, you know, just remember I said it. Anyway, enough about that. Enough about that. Let's do some, I don't have any rapid fire news, but they might as well release a list in Pelosi's handwriting citing that's the gist of it. To me, if they do that, that would make me 100% against Trump because it would look like he's diverting and trying to cover up that he's in the files. I'd never vote for anyone in the cabinet. Yeah, well, good thing he can't run again. I mean, you're never going to vote for Trump again? Wow. That means nothing. They never said that, and there's no reason to lie about that. I never said that. No reason to lie about that. I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I don't know. I see her getting out. Hopefully not. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But he's definitely in the list. Whatever the list is, he's definitely in it. I mean, we've known that. We've known that for years. It's not a surprise. It shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. But that doesn't mean anything. Did I say Trump or his cabinet? You said I would never vote for him or anyone in his cabinet. So I was responding to the I'd never vote for him part. That's the part I was responding to. So you did say him. Go read it. I'd never vote for Vance or anyone related to the cover-up. Well, all right. Cool beans. Anyway, let's go to... I don't have any memes this week. There's no memes. No memes this week. Stubborn one didn't send me any memes, guys. Blame him. No, I had some memes that I gathered, plus I got some old ones that I didn't use before. What are you doing, Echo? But I just didn't do a meme folder because there's too much news. Too much news to cover. I got some crazy stories in rapid fire. But first, we don't have memes, but we will watch some funny reels. Let me fix this. There's a lot of perverts on there. They're just not in the spotlight. Yeah, probably a lot of the worst names on that list are going to be names that nobody's ever heard of. I'm not trying to protect the people on the list. I'm just saying we should have been investigating and going after each individual name on that list in private, behind the scenes. There's no... Then once you convict somebody, then you tell the public about that. You say, hey, this guy was on the list and we got him, boys. We got him. He's going down. Then you release that guy's name to the public one at a time. And we work our way through the list one at a time. And each time somebody's convicted, let the public know. But just releasing this whole address book to the public doesn't make sense. And I've said before, and I'll say it again, it's Trump's fault for saying he was going to do it. It's Trump's administration's fault for saying they were going to do that. They should have never made that promise. That was stupid. So I'll definitely call him out on that. He definitely made a mistake by claiming he was going to do it and then not doing it. That was dumb. Okay. What am I looking for? Where is the... Here it is. Okay. 1 second. Okay. This White History Month. Let's watch some funny reels. Here we go. Let me fix something real quick. There we go. All right. White History Month. Let's listen to this.
Letter in a sentence. Keisha told me that Brittany wanted to fight me and I said letter, because I would drag her ass. Use the word harassment in a sentence. Keisha didn't know how to pronounce the word, so Jessica was trying to crack on her. I said, Jessica, shut up. You know what her ass meant. You know exactly what her ass meant. You just trying to be funny. Can you use the word extinct in a sentence? Every time I come here, it stinks. And I don't like that smell. That is so disgusting. It stinks. It be so
extinct in here. Extinct in here.
Stink in here. You know what? You need to get that under control. Use the word cinnamon in a sentence. Lord, please send a man that is not going to cheat on me, because I am so tired of Brandon and his line. Like, please, Lord, just send a man. Send a man, Lord. Are you fucking kidding me?
Cinnamon. Cinnamon, Lord. Cinnamon.
Extinct. Use the word Baghdad in a sentence. Girl, you look good. Won't you bag that ass up?
Girl, you look good. Won't you bag that ass up?
Hey, bag that ass up. Country rap.
Okay. Happy White History Month, y'all. I think I might have played this one before, but this is pretty funny. Okay. He's going to do a shape, or she's going to do the same shape on the wall. Oh, it's a heart. Is it a heart? It's a heart. Aw. Little arrow through the heart? It's an arrow through the heart.
I love you too.
Ready? Yeah. Oh, you love me too. Nope, that's a penis. Beirut, best damn ball player ever lived. Oh. Use the word Beirut in the sentence. Beirut was the best ball player who ever lived. You ever seen Beirut? He called his shots, and then he'd hit that ball. Beirut. Okay, this next one. Okay. First, I don't know. Maybe this is kind of, I don't know. Maybe this is kind of weird that I watched this, but usually I make fun of interpreters. The interpreters are usually like, I make fun of them, but this popped up on my Facebook feed, and now I've been watching this chick because she does interpreting for rap music, and she's kind of cute too. But I'm learning new words in sign language from watching this chick.
She's on a strict diet, that's my baby. With no makeup, she a 10, and she the best with that head, even better than...
Hold on, this is head. She the best with that head. Bro, I'm learning sign language. This is head. She want the time to spend. She said, cause I really need somebody. So tell me that somebody. Girl, I fuck who I want and fuck who I don't. Got that A1 credit and that feeling young. She say I never. They're mostly just spelling. I noticed sign language. I think a lot of it doesn't mean anything, and you're actually just reading their lips, and they're just spelling words. Most of the time, they're just spelling the words. But this is head. This is body. Somebody, that body, you know? But listen, this is the coolest word that I learned in sign language.
I wanna make you mad. I just
wanna make you proud. I
said,
said, baby, just make me come.
Then don't make the sound.
Good cushion alcohol.
Yeah.
I got some down bitches I can call. What's that? I don't know
what I would do without y'all.
I'm a boss of the day.
Yeah, long as my bitches love me. My bitches love me.
Yeah.
I can give a fuck by no head, long as my bitches love me.
I think it's funny she didn't do the N-word though. If you would have let the song play, oh my god, my camera's following me again. This is kind of annoying when it does this. I don't know if there's a way to lock it. They cut it right before the N-word. I want to see this white girl do the N-word in sign language. But guys, this is cum. Oh my god. in sign language. And this is head. Give me. I'm learning sign language from this lady. Okay. All right. Something called. He said we can speak sign language in the chat now. Pointing at the head could also mean head. But I like this better. All right. Rapid fire news. What do we got? Walmart stabbing. A madman who allegedly stabbed 11 in sick rampage at Michigan Walmart has been ID'd. Looks like Adam Sandler. Dude, Adam Sandler out here stabbing people up at a Walmart. I thought it was going to be a Muslim guy. He does look a little bakalaka dark, but his name is Brandon. Dark Brandon. Police have identified a 42-year-old man with multiple prior arrests as the violent nut. This is great writing, New York Post. The violent nut who stabbed. I'm about to have a violent nut. Not so happy Gilmore. This is not so happy Gilmore. Oh my God. Durka Madison. Bradford. Oh wait, Bradford, not Brandon. Bradford. What didn't it say? Bradford somewhere? There's not that. Look, it says Brandon, but then here it says Bradford. I knew I didn't read it wrong. Right here it says Brandon Gill. And then it says Bradford James Guild is in custody. Who writes it? You don't have editors? You don't have an editor staff? How do you get the name of the suspect who stabbed 11 people wrong? Brandon James Guild is in custody awaiting arraignment on 1 count of terrorism and 11 counts of assault with intent to murder following the shocking stabbing spree in Traverse City, cops said. He entered the big box chain store around 4:43 p.m. and stabbed his victims using a folding knife, authorities said. Look at that little... That's crazy. That's a tiny little knife. Authorities are very confident that Gill is the attacker. Yeah, it's the guy with the knife and the blood all over his hands. Said Grand Traverse County Sheriff, his victim. I'm just curious why he's getting a terrorist charge, because I've read some of these articles and they say that it was just a random crazy guy attacking people in a store. Terrorism involves religious or political messaging behind it. So I would think he's one of them bakalaka guys, because they like stabbing. They get stabby. That he's one of those guys, and he's, then it would be terrorism. But they don't say anything about that. Granted, they wouldn't want to push a message that would encourage racism, so they would hide that. But if they're giving him terrorist charges, and he's a stabby guy, and he looks a little, he looks a little like Mohammed Gilmore. I don't know if his name is actually Brandon or Bradford. It's probably like Brundon. I don't know. Bernie, cut. All the victims are expected to survive. That's something I wanted to see. Oh yeah, he's got a 2-inch blade. He has multiple past arrests for criminal mischief and drug offenses, and previously served 49 days in jail in Florida for vandalism. 2 possible self-published books. Everybody got a book on Amazon. Reveal him as a born-again Christian. Huh? Well, born again from what? The author turned to prayer at age 14 and the unfortunate loss of one of my close friends, the blurb in one of the books read. Dude, everybody got a book these days. Don't mess with the Zohan. Yes. The book, which purports to be autobiographical, lays out how its author had dreams tracing his past lives back millions of years. That's not a Christian thing. What? That is not how you can't say I'm Christian, but I also believe in reincarnation. Some of those New Testament dreams of mine portrayed me as Jesus Christ or God and him as Judas Iscariot. This guy is not a born-again Christian, by the way. You don't get to say this stuff and say you're a Christian. In another book published in January last year, the author described an apparent autobiographical account of his astonishing revelation of his own identity as Jesus Christ and the Spirit as Judas Iscariot. This dude's crazy. This guy's crazy. Anyway, but the cool part of the story is bystanders stopped him, and we have a good guy with a gun. We have a good guy with a gun situation.
Throw the knife that way! Throw it away! Throw it away! Hey, he hasn't dropped it. Put it down! Okay, I'm a soldier. I don't care. Lay down!
This guy wrote a book. If this guy wrote 2 books, I need to write a book.
Nope.
Dude, I don't know.
There's
All
like
I know
several
is
people stabbed. Oh my God.
I've talked about this before, dude. Guns and shootings. After that, I agree with GB. He's a born-again schizophrenic. Yeah. But, dude, a gun, as soon as you shoot, everybody knows where you are. You know, there's a lot of attention. But a knife, you could walk through a crowd and just be like, ta, 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 ta. And then just off in the cut, you know? The cut, you know? The cut and the cut. You're doing the cut in the cut. You just be up there, cut, 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 cut. Stick and move. And nobody's going to know who's doing it. You just disappear into the crowd. And all people know is somebody's walking around in this crowd stabbing people and nobody has any idea who it is. He stabbed 11 people before people finally confronted him. Just walking through Walmart. Cut. Dip off to the side, you know? So, how the dinosaurs built the pyramid. Make it a children's book. Oh, I could do a children's book about dinosaurs building the pyramids. I could do it. Children's books are also very profitable, from what I've heard. Danny the Dino builds a pyramid. Dude. Well, there already is a children's book kind of like that. It's we showed it. It was in my slideshow in the debate. It's called like Namaru and his dinosaur. Yeah, this is crazy. One of the reports that I read says that one of those people who got him in the parking lot and got him to put down the knife and held him until cops came was armed with a gun. So, good guy with a gun situation.
At Vistaprint, we print signs so
good guy with a gun saves the day. By the time an employee in the checkout area yelled about a man with a knife, it was too late. Nearly a dozen people had been stabbed at the busy Walmart in Traverse City, a tourist town at the shore of Lake Michigan, by a man who had appeared to have attacked people at random, the sheriff said.
Is the moment people in a Walmart parking lot appear.
All right, this is the same video. I guess this is the only.
Throw the knife that way!
This is the moment people in a Walmart parking lot appear to confront a man after police say a stabbing there left 11 people injured. It all happened in Traverse City, Michigan on Saturday.
I want to acknowledge that there was citizen involvement in assisting in taking the individual into custody. We'll have more information on that later. The suspect is a 42-year-old male. We believe he acted alone at this time. There is no information indicating there were additional suspects. It appears that these were all random acts. The weapon appears to be a folding knife. At this time, we have 6 male victims and 5 female victims, ages unknown at this time.
The sheriff said people inside the Walmart assisted in the treatment of some of the victims. CNN has reached out to Michigan State Police and Munson Healthcare for more.
No, the story's going to be called Elder Lion the Dandelion. Elder Lion the Dandelion. It's he gets blown to and fro in the wind.
More information.
All right. CPD. Okay. We got more violence. More violence. This is rapid fire news. We got to go quick. This is going to play an ad. I try to get all the ads done before the show starts, but I didn't have time today. So that we don't have to wait through all these. Slutty. My comments are always getting blocked too. Well, because his name is Slutty. You can't, I don't think, well, I guess you can write it in the YouTube chat, but. I'm on that good goose, you're not going. I got some down, jeez, I can go. Cincinnati police, we got another story. Cincinnati police are investigating a fight that broke out in downtown Cincinnati. Here, just listen to this lady say it.
Breakout in the middle of the street in downtown Cincinnati, and police chief, state leaders
Happy White
now
History
releasing
Month, guys.
harsh words for those.
This happening during White History Month is a travesty. Okay? At least I get blown.
Involved, including the ones who recorded the video instead of jumping in to help or even dialing 911. News 5's Sean McKinnon joining us live outside District 1 headquarters with what we know about the investigation into that video, Sean.
Yeah, Council Member Mark Jeffrey said this fight happened at 3 a.m. today. We've got new video tonight as police piece together exactly how and why this started.
That's not an L. That's not a W. You can get blown by dudes.
And state lawmakers take notice.
A massive fight between more than a dozen people in the middle of the street. At 4.
And apparently, this is a bunch of young partygoers. You know, a bunch of youths attacking a white couple. Basically, a dude and his girlfriend got attacked by a bunch of youthful partygoers. You know?
4th and Elm, just a block uphill from Paycor Stadium. Videos posted online show punches and kicks being thrown, continuing after a man is knocked to the ground. As the fight goes on, videos show a man punching a woman, knocking her unconscious. Chief Teresa Thigi called it a sudden dispute between individuals following a verbal altercation, saying, "I am in complete..."
Individuals. Youthful partygoers. Young individuals.
Disgust waking up to the viral video many of you have now seen. The behavior displayed is...
And they shut this story down. Like, this is WLWT.com. Big old, like, CNN, national news. Nothing like that. Nothing like that's going to report on it. A white guy and his girlfriend went out and got involved with the young individuals, the youthful partygoers, the friendly neighbors, and this is what happens.
Is nothing short of cruel and absolutely unacceptable. Our investigative team is working diligently to identify every individual involved in causing harm. The
Individuals.
Fight spreading.
Every individual, every neighbor, every friendly neighbor involved and causing harm.
On social media, state lawmaker Cecil Thomas, who represents parts of Cincinnati, saying it's unacceptable under any standard, and those involved should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Therefore, as your state representative, I trust that there will be a full and complete investigation of this incident by the Cincinnati Police Department and to bring charges against all involved.
The knockout games never ended. They just got hidden and swept under the rug. One of the first guys to get canceled. You know, cancel culture is nothing new. We've always had cancel culture. And one of the first guys to get canceled, rest in peace, Colin Flaherty. He wrote a book called White Girl Bleed a Lot, and he did a documentary on the knockout games, and they canceled him. And now his book, you can find it on Amazon from personal sellers, but it's very expensive because it was a banned book. It's a banned book. They won't sell it on Amazon. You can look up. He wrote 3 books. He wrote White Girl Bleed a Lot. He wrote Knockout Games, and he wrote. Let me see. What 3 books did he write? But basically, they're all about black on white violence, and he got canceled for it, and he got besmirched, and most of you have never heard of his name because he was banned everywhere. His books were banned everywhere, and he was doing good journalism on the knockout games, how in the hood, these neighbors, the youthful party goers, were just knocking out white people. There's been old people who have died from it. But he died now. Colin Flaherty. White Girl Bleed a Lot. Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. Knockout Game. A Lie? Oh, hell no. Those are his 3 books. And if you tried it, let me see if I can find one on Amazon. Oh, and then Redwood to Deadwood, Hitchhiking America Today. He also wrote a book about a 53-year-old hitchhiking around America for 3 months again. He wrote a book about hitchhiking around America. You can get that one, but like White Girl Bleed a Lot. $60. Paperback. White Girl Bleed a Lot, A Return of Racial Violence to America and How the Media Ignores It. $60. And then this one's not for sale. $200 for this copy. No featured offers available. $200. It's hard to find copies of his books because they got banned. He got canceled. But anyway, I stay out of the cities at all costs for a reason. Yep. People who play knockout games. The neighbors.
And the president of the union representing officers calling the violence disgusting, saying what's equal.
That's the girl picking up her purse who gets dropped, but they don't show it in this video. I'm sure that you can find the video of it, but probably can't show it on YouTube.
Equally disgusting is those who chose to watch and record instead of calling 911, attempting to defuse the situation or render aid. I have full faith in the Central Business Section
They're not going to snitch. What do you mean? Snitches get stitches.
Investigators, they will make arrests in the near future. It will then be the responsibility of the court system to hold these violent thugs accountable.
And thousands of people attended Cincinnati Music Fest last night. The chief of police said this fight is not connected to Cincy Music Fest in any way. Police have not announced any arrests yet.
Yeah. Shocker. Shocker. Nobody's been arrested yet. Cincinnati. There are more liberal places, but yeah, not surprised. Let's move on. What else we got? This is a crazy story. Check this out. Sex trafficking warrant served at LA home owned by alleged TikTok cult pastor. A large operation was seen unfolding in Tujunga on Friday morning when federal and local law enforcement served a search warrant for alleged sex trafficking at a home owned by a controversial pastor and subject of the Netflix docuseries Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult. I've never even heard of this before.
News from Tujunga. Federal authorities have served search warrants at a home tied to the Netflix documentary Dancing for the Devil about an alleged cult.
Yes, several people were seen in handcuffs during the operation. KTLA 5's Kimberly Chang live now in Tujunga with details on the investigation. Kimberly.
Hi, and just a few moments ago, we saw a caravan of vehicles leaving this.
I'm going to have to look into this. I've never seen this Netflix docuseries. Has anybody seen this? Do you guys know about this? To what now? Tujunga. Tujunga. It's spelled Tujunga. Tujunga. Has anybody seen this Netflix series? Because I haven't. I don't have Netflix anymore. But I could probably find it on my completely legal website where I Tujunga Huma Humanina. Has anybody seen this? The 7M TikTok cult? I want to look into this. I'm interested in cults. I like learning about cults. You know?
Property 10 from what I could count. If you take a look behind me, you can see the gate is knocked down. This is on the 7700 block of McGroarty Street in Tujunga. It was raided earlier this morning. This is where a search warrant was served. Now, take a look. Sky 5 overhead this morning, and we could see several people apparently being detained on the property. Now,
look at this big ass house and property. This dude's probably got rich off of TikTok. A TikTok cult pastor.
Sources confirmed to me that this property is owned by Robert Shin and is the same home featured.
Look at this old lady, Abuelita. They got Abuelita. They got her, boys. We got her.
In a Netflix documentary called Dancing for the Devil. It's also well known among neighbors who told me that more than a year ago.
He Chinese. He played joke. He put a coat in your coke.
Flyers were passed around, letting them know about the serious allegations involved.
Ooh. I need that on my soundboard.
And telling them to look up that information. Now, neighbors say early this morning they saw a large law enforcement presence. They say authorities.
She's a grown-ass woman, so let her live her own life. She's kind of cute.
Authorities broke through the gate to enter. The FBI, sheriff's personnel were part of this operation. And according to El Monte police, the search warrant was served and involved allegations of tax evasion, sex trafficking, mail fraud, and money laundering. The Postal Service and FBI are leading this investigation. Now, it's not clear if there's a connection, but the home, as I mentioned, was featured in a Netflix documentary called Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult, which focuses on TikTok dancers who join a management company and its associated church. The film accuses Shin of running a cult.
We need to talk to Joel Friday. Where's Joel Friday? Is he in this? Joel. You can't be doing TikTok dances. It leads you to a cult.
Via his talent management company 7M Films, as well as his church, Shekinah Church, where he serves as a pastor.
I have heard of 7M Films on something else before. Maybe a video I was watching about cults. I've heard of this 7M Films. I've heard of this before, but I've never seen this documentary. I didn't know it was a TikTok dance cult. TikTok is pure mind rot facts. Dance cult is kind of based. No, it's not. No.
Last year, 7M Films denied the allegations in the film and called them.
Bro, first off, if you're dancing on TikTok,
Beta!
But if you're dancing and joining a TikTok cult,
Why are you gay?
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
donation to the chair cult. Let's go.
I've been broke my whole life. Now money right.
Sorry, I was doing a TikTok dance. Thinking about joining the TikTok dance cult.
the documentary a slanderous work of fiction and said the company was taking legal action. Earlier, we spoke with a former dancer from the documentary. Take a listen.
We're very happy. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and we hope that justice is served.
There's a bunch of Chinese. They got a bunch of Chinese in the TikTok dance cult. I didn't know Chinese people could dance.
And that people responsible for hurting a lot of people, over the years end up in jail.
Now, an attorney representing plaintiffs who sued Shin sent KTLA a statement saying, in part, regarding this search warrant, we are gratified that the federal government is investigating Robert Shin and look forward to our clients and his victims receiving the justice they deserve. She said the trial is set to begin October 27th. And back here live again, you are looking at gate which was knocked down during this raid earlier this morning. Again, several vehicles left the property. We haven't seen much activity since. At this point, it's not clear how many people were arrested. We have reached out to the FBI for comment and more information, and we'll let you know when we hear back. For now, reporting live in Tahunga, Kimberly Chang, KTLA 5 News.
Kimberly Chang, were you in the TikTok dance cult? Kimberly Chang, Kim Chang? All right. What else we got? We got another interesting story here, kind of in the same vein. We did the story on this place when it opened a long time ago, so this is an update. A whites-only community could be coming to Springfield, Missouri area. So about a year or two ago, we did this story about this whites-only community that they opened. And apparently it's growing rapidly and prospering and colonizing. It's expanding and colonizing. It's like a very successful community. It's crazy. Happy White History Month. Springfield, Missouri, the outspoken co-founder of Return to the Land, a relatively new whites-only group based in northern Arkansas, said the group could be expanding to Springfield, Missouri area. They're colonizing America. They're recolonizing America. Eric Orwell, co-founder of Return to the Land, told Ozarks First a group of people are considering developing an RTTL community near Springfield. RTTL is a private member association exclusively made for white people. Jewish people are also barred from membership. Members are vetted through an application process based on European ancestry. We seek to create a decentralized movement formed of various individuals and societies returning to the land. We will promote strong families with common ancestry and raise the next generation in an environment that reflects our traditional values. The group's home base land association is based on 160 acres in northern Arkansas and has been in development since 2023. So in 2023, we covered this. We got an update. They're prospering and expanding and colonizing. Shocker. But then when you go to the comments on Facebook for this ad, it's like, it's what that means is basically another trailer park in Springfield. No, they seem to be doing pretty well for themselves. You haven't heard of any you haven't heard of a lot of violent crime coming from this area. In fact, they're growing, they're expanding, they're colonizing. Wow. Orwell said to draw to northern Arkansas was its affordable land, natural beauty, abundant water resources, and a conservative, predominantly white population. The Anti-Defamation League released a statement on X earlier this month saying this northern Arkansas development not only revives discredited and reprehensible forms of segregation, it should also be illegal under the Arkansas Fair Housing Act, the Fair Housing Act of 1968, as well as other federal and state civil rights laws. So you're telling me I can't start a whites-only commune? That's illegal? That's not freedom. I thought we lived in America. We urge the Arkansas Fair Housing Community Commission, local elected officials, and law enforcement to act swiftly to ensure that Northeast Arkansas remains a welcome and inclusive community, not a refuge for intolerance and exclusion, said Lindsey Box Friedman. regional director of the ADL South Central, in the X statement. Orwell told Ozarks First that RTTL is a private association that doesn't sell real estate. The attorneys we've consulted believe what we're doing is legal. Orwell said, Americans have the right to freely associate and form intentional communities on whatever basis they choose. He's right. We want to ensure that white Americans who value their ancestry will have the ability to live among like-minded people in the future if they choose to do so, regardless of demographic changes. We'd like for a network of communities, community centers, and recreational areas to be available to our members that affords them opportunities to celebrate their heritage with their folk. Folk! What up, folk? Whites should have the ability to live among their own people if that's what they want to do, and mass immigration is quickly making that nearly impossible in many Western nations. If individuals decide to live in multiracial communities, they should be allowed to do so. But we don't want racial forced on us in every aspect of life. We're glad to facilitate communities in Missouri and think it's a great state, he said. The ADL labeled the group as part of a growing trend in white separatist organizing. According to RTL, blah, blah, shared ancestral values, not hatred or violence. And apparently, they're growing, and they're succeeding, and they're prospering. Shocker. Well, that's it for our cults, and that's it for White History Month, guys. I think that's the last White History Month story that we got for you. I got a couple more in rapid fire. I don't think we're going to get to the UK anarchy stuff unless we just burn through these really quick. Women Uber drivers and riders can choose to avoid riding with men soon. So Uber is doing a thing where if you're a woman Uber driver, you don't have to pick up men. So it's okay for Uber to allow women to discriminate against men, but it's not okay for white people to set up a whites-only community. Sounds like a good idea until you find yourself in the Ozarks in November. Yeah, I know. They need to try to set one of these up in California or Florida. Uber will now allow women riders to request women drivers in select U.S. cities. Women drivers can also opt in to only accept trips from women riders. The feature is launching as a pilot in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Detroit. So women get to discriminate against men. That's totally fine. But white people aren't allowed to live in a whites-only community. That makes sense. Anyway, what else we got? Ozzy Osbourne and the Hulk died this week. Two big names. 76 years old for Ozzy. 71 years old for the Hulk. Ozzy died Thursday. His family shared he was 76. No details surrounding the cause of death were immediately available. I mean, he's 76, so I don't see anything. I doubt there's anything like unusual at play here. The godfather of heavy metal. Ozzy dead. R.I.P. Ozzy. And the Hulk. Hulk Hogan, the star who took professional wrestling to national mainstream and became the biggest money-making draw in the history of the industry, died Thursday. Hogan was pronounced dead at the hospital. There are no signs of foul play or suspicious activity. They just got old, man. And, you know, I'm sure wrestling, he was doing a lot of things that weren't healthy, just constantly hurting your body. Usually some steroid and some opiate use in wrestlers, very common, because you're just destroying your body night after night. So 71 is really a ripe old age for a wrestler that he made it to 71. So shout out Ozzy and shout out Hulk. RIP boys. Let's see what else we got. In our sci-fi segment, we got a little sci-fi sci-fi type stuff. Check this out. T-Rex relatives moonwalked to attract mates. Newfound dinosaur mating arena suggests. Researchers have identified a mating arena at Dinosaur Ridge where male theropods, those are T-Rexes allegedly. I'm a big dinosaur guy, but I think the T-Rex might be fake. Or at least them arms don't make sense. I've heard, and we've done stories before where they say the short arms is fake and that actually he had long front arms and he walked on all fours, but he could stand up, which would make the T-Rex way more threatening than that freaking weird, like, short-armed guy. The weird short-armed guy, not very threatening. But if he had big, like, strong arms like me and he could walk on all fours and he could stand up and attack you, then the T-Rex is way more threatening. But anyway, they found T-Rex footprints at this mating ridge. And I guess in order to find a mate, the T-Rex would do the moonwalk. They'd like stand and they'd sounds like bullshit. No, this is real. This is 100% real. Around 100 million years ago, I disagree with that. It was probably more like 10,000 years ago. Around 100 million years ago, male dinosaurs entered a mating arena in Colorado and danced their hearts out to attract females, new studies suggest. Researchers uncovered a series of mating display scrapes preserved on the surface of rocks at Dinosaur Ridge in Jefferson County, Colorado. The state is known for dinosaur track sites, with previous studies suggesting that dinosaurs return to these mating sites over successive breeding seasons. Latest marks identified suggest that multiple individuals participated in a mating display behavior there during the Cretaceous period and allowed the ridge to be classed as a display arena. So they'd all go up and gather at this spot on a mountain and they'd start moonwalking. T-Rex moonwalk. Could you imagine a T-Rex moonwalking? All the lady T-Rexes are like, ooh, boy. I'm about to get that T-Rex bone. They're going to say the T-Rex was trans next? Dude, this T-Rex out here moonwalking on their ass. Well, that's it for that story. What else we got? This is crazy. Prescription from CNN, YouTube. This is CNN I'm reading. Prescription fluoride faces FDA scrutiny despite widespread support from providers and the public. Prescription fluoride pills. Why would anybody even make a fluoride pill? This is just as real as my trust fund from my Nigerian prince cousin. Listen, guys, if you ain't down with the dino, I don't know what you're doing with your life. T-Rex is definitely moonwalked to find mates. But anyway, why are we making prescription fluoride? And now it's under scrutiny by the FDA. Shocker. Who would have thunk fluoride pills weren't good for you? The U.S. Food and Drug Administration appears poised to continue with a plan to ban prescription fluoride supplements. Who's taking prescription fluoride supplements? Who's prescribing fluoride supplements? At a time when many experts say that access to the products has become especially important, they're trying to make us all retarded. Most U.S. residents live in a community where fluoride is added to the public drinking water. But this year, Utah and Florida became the first states to ban the practice, and similar legislation has been introduced in several other states. Fluoride is a mineral that can be found naturally in some foods and groundwater. It can help prevent tooth decay by strengthening the protective outer layer of the enamel. Yes, it strengthens your teeth. That's why they put it in toothpaste. But it says on the toothpaste, don't swallow the toothpaste. You don't want to ingest fluoride. If you put it on your teeth, it strengthens your teeth, but you don't swallow it. Even putting it on your teeth, you're going to sublingually ingest some of it, but that's not a dangerous amount, you know. Sublingually means through your gums and through your tongue and through your lining of your mouth, you actually ingest. There are drugs that you could take, like Suboxone and stuff. You take them sublingually. You put a little thing under your tongue and it dissolves and it absorbs into your mouth. Well, fluoride, same thing. When you brush your teeth, some of the fluoride is absorbed into your mouth, And that's not great, but it's such a small amount that it's not horrible either. And the benefits that you get from brushing with a fluoride toothpaste, and this I've got in my argument with my mom about this because she's a dental hygienist, and I was like, why are they doing the fluoride? And she told me all about it. She's like, well, you can see the numbers once they started doing fluoride, less people had problems with their mouth and their teeth falling out. And because once your teeth start falling out, toothaches are very painful. They can get infected. You can die from an infected tooth. There was a lot less of that happening once they started putting fluoride in the toothpaste. The problem came when they started putting fluoride in the water and people were drinking it. That does not strengthen your teeth. Drinking fluoride does not strengthen your teeth. It goes into your belly where you become retarded and your kids turn out, I got to be careful what I say because I'm not a doctor, right? But yeah, you're not supposed to be ingesting large amounts of fluoride. A fluoride pill is a horrible idea. A little fluoride in your toothpaste is all right. You don't swallow your toothpaste. A fluoride pill, not good. And now the Food and Drug Administration is trying to shut these pills down. Risk versus benefits, dozens of dentists, researchers, public health experts, and other but I told my mom, I was like, Mom, of course you're going to say this. You're big dentistry. You work for big dentistry, so of course you have to say this. She's like, I don't work for big dentistry. I was like, you do work for big dentistry. Well, I don't know how I got it, 4 out of 5 dentists agree. Watch JS Urban Adventures. Yep. But I think my mom is a big dentistry op. Dozens of dentists spoke at a meeting. Thousands of others shared their thoughts ahead of time. Among those support for prescription fluoride were the American Dental Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry, and the American Association of Public Health Dentistry. Big dentistry is trying to make us eat fluoride pills. That's no bueno. I'm okay with a little fluoride in the toothpaste, but I'm not okay with fluoride in the water and fluoride pills being prescribed to people. Not good. No bueno. Sorry, big dentistry. I disagree with you. She works for Big Dental. I know. My mom's dang op for Big Dental. She's not a dentist. She's a dental hygienist. Anyway, so that's that. And then last story, Sean Strickland suspended indefinitely after in Nevada after corner incident. I think we played this video. Is there a video of it? I think we played the video a couple weeks ago. But anyway, basically Sean Strickland ran and jumped in the ring after a fight event, and he punched dude in the face because the dude did suck it to him, and he got pissed and jumped in the ring and hit the dude, and now he's been suspended indefinitely. Former UFC middleweight Sean Strickland has been suspended from competition after getting into an altercation with another fighter at an MMA event in June in Las Vegas. Nevada State Athletic Commission has suspended Strickland indefinitely for his role in the incident. It is a common practice for the commission to suspend a licensed athlete or cornerman until issuing an official punishment at a disciplinary hearing. Strickland's case was on the commission's monthly schedule Wednesday, but it voted to push his hearing to a future date. Incident occurred at a Tough Enough event June 29th in Las Vegas. Strickland entered the cage after a fighter he coaches, Miles Hunsinger, suffered a submission loss to Luis Hernandez. Immediately after the win, Hernandez taunted Hunsinger's corner, which prompted a response from Strickland. A fellow UFC fighter, Chris Courage, video captured Strickland throwing a pair of punches at Hernandez. UFC will almost certainly not announce a fight for Strickland until the matter is resolved. He has not fought since coming up short in a bid to recapture the 185-pound championship against Dricus du Plessis in February. So Strickland might be out for a while. They indefinitely suspended Nate Diaz, and he ended up leaving the UFC because it just never went away. So I don't know if they're going to do that with Strickland, but they also don't like things he says at press conferences. He's a liability to the company, so I could see him not coming back for a while. But we will find find out. We will find out. I liked Strickland, but then he started saying some stuff I didn't like. For a little while, I thought he was super based, and then he started getting. He was like pro Luigi Mangione shooting that guy, and I was like, that's dumb. That's dumb. And then he started getting a little socialist. You know, we need healthcare and da 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 da. And yeah, he started getting a little lame. He's kind of a tool. Yeah. Yeah, he said some things, some Trump stuff and some base stuff, and then he got popular for the things he was saying, but then he took it too extreme, and it was like, I don't know about this guy anymore. And his fights are not that entertaining. Just stand like this and walk towards the guy and jab, 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 jab. And that's a Sean Strickland fight. You can't knock him out, you know? He'll just stand in front of you and keep walking towards you and jabbing the whole fight. That's it. He'll just eat the punches and jab and jab and jab. Isn't he the one that beat up Sneeko? Yes. Yeah, that's him. And he didn't even, I don't know if we played that and I talked about that and I said, I don't think Strickland was showing his full power level. But it was kind of embarrassing that he couldn't knock out Sneeko. Either Sneeko's way better, way stronger, tough jaw, better fighter than we think, or Strickland's worse than we think, or Strickland was hiding his true power level and it was just they were just playing around. But like I expected Sneeko to get knocked out really quick and he didn't. He actually held his own. I know you like jabbing too. We jab. We be jabbing. Blup, blup, boomba clot. We be jabbing. Okay. We got like 20 minutes. I just want to watch this video from Sky News Australia. It's like 10 minutes. We'll make it last 20 minutes with commentary and whatnot. But basically, there's been a revitalization of the last year in the UK, and we talked about this when it happened. Three white girls got stabbed to death by a Bakalaka Dirt guy at a Taylor Swift dance event. And the UK rightfully went into social unrest. They freaked out. And I was like, yeah, that would be a reason. That would be a good reason to hit the streets. We've let these people flood in. We reviewed the Tommy Robbins documentary about a year ago. Damn, I can't believe it. Time goes by so quick now. Like, feels like that was just a couple months ago, but it was a year ago. Well, now it's also summertime. Summertime, people get unruly. Crime goes up because people are outside, you know. That's why they keep jails and hospitals cold, is because it makes people more lackadaisical. It makes people more calm when it's really cold. It also slows the spread of germs, but it placates people to be in the cold. Once it warms up, people get crazy. Well, UK and other countries in that area are going wild again, and anarchy is breaking out. Anarchy in the UK. Anarchy in the UK is breaking out, and it's getting crazy over there. So, and a lot of people aren't really reporting on this much. It was hard for me to find a lot of information that wasn't from last year. When I was looking into it, everything it was telling me was from last year. But we will watch this video. We'll watch this video, but basically this is the story I was talking about. Community in mourning after 3 girls killed in knife attack. Look at these pretty young girls killed for no reason by a dang jihadi. This stuff pisses me off, but I don't like it. I don't like it. Anyway, these 3 girls got stabbed, and it led to the UK riots last year. But now UK fears new summer of unrest a year after the Southport riots. Concern is mounting that recent violent anti-immigrant protests could herald a new summer of unrest a year after the UK was rocked by its worst riots in decades. And basically, both sides are hitting the streets, and it's just total chaos in a lot of areas over there. Now, if we talk to people from the UK, maybe they're seeing this, maybe they're not seeing this, maybe it's getting blown out of proportion, maybe it's getting downplayed. I don't know. I'm not over there. But we're going to watch this video from Sky News. Now, to be fair, Sky News is biased, right? They're biased to the right. And they're going to sensationalize this in a way that's biased towards the right. The left will downplay it. The right will blow it up bigger than it is. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. But if you're talking to somebody who's from there and they're on the left, they're going to say it's not a big deal. If you talk to somebody who's on the right who's from there, they're going to say it's a huge deal. So the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but let's watch this from Sky News. We got an ad. We got to watch this ad real quick. Hold up. All right. Here we go.
Parts of Spain, France, and the UK right now.
This is not just the UK, which is more than one country. I knew that. Always. Spain, France, and the UK.
Migrant gangs from Northern Africa and the Middle East violently tried to take over and intimidate innocent people. Spain is currently in crisis, with ongoing clashes between migrant gangs and Spaniards following the violent bashing of an elderly man in Torre.
I think we played this video a week or two ago. We played this video of this old guy is walking down the road and this mob just runs up and starts whooping his ass.
Pachato. And again in Spain, a man with a baby was callously threatened by a knife-wielding gang for...
A white guy with a bunch of brown guys in tracksuits and knives.
Simply walking down the street.
Fucking punk. Oh, he's got a kid in a cart. Dude, bro, just run. Just run. Don't mess with them. You could have got stabbed up and your kid would have been fatherless just now. Like, these kids are scumbags and they should be put under a jail somewhere. But also, I'm not happy that this guy left his cart over there and he's walking towards them. He's pushing him back, but I mean, you don't want to show your back to them, but take your kid and run, dude. It's not worth your kid growing up fatherless because these little scumbags. Don't stand there like that. Go, run. It's not, heart doesn't make you smart. Heart does not make you smart. Come on, man.
And in the tourist mecca of Barcelona, the cobblestone laneways are no longer filled with people.
That is a beautiful building. What is that called? That's the something cathedral in Barcelona, huh? Dang, that building is beautiful. Look at that architecture. That's amazing. I'd love to see that.
And in the tourist mecca of Barcelona, the cobblestone laneways are no longer filled with people enjoying their vacations, but with hundreds of Muslim men chanting.
Wow. Wow. Look at them all. That's crazy. What a big guy needing 9 of his boys to threaten a father with their child. I know. That, dude, something needs to happen to those kids really, really bad. Something really bad needs to happen to all of them. But still, that father needs to just run. Don't, if something like that happens, you just run. Just run with your kid. Get out of there. Because that kid could have easily stabbed him up. El Cid is rolling in his grave. Look at all of them packed. The streets are packed, dude. That's crazy.
This commentator sent a stark warning, saying if you wanted to visit Barcelona, Spain, now it's looking like Islamabad, Pakistan.
Yep. And in Paris.
France is also in a migration.
As if France wasn't already bad enough. Nothing good has ever come from France. Eiffel Tower is gay. Sorry. But apparently they got big rats and it's dirty. It's filthy. It's not what people think it is. But now it's also a freaking Muslim Mecca, new Mecca.
Mess with violence running rampant in the streets, like at the Fête de la Musique last month, where hundreds of young people were stabbed with syringes and property set alight.
Look at them all. Oh my God. And look at these young ladies. And it's the same everywhere. Look at these like young white girls. God, they're going to get what they deserve. They're going to get what they deserve.
Where hundreds of young people were stabbed with syringes and property set alight.
Oh, that's where the syringe stabbing happened. We talked about that story too. Yeah, somebody was going around stabbing up people with, walking through the crowd, just stabbing people with syringes. And who knows what's on those syringes based off of this group of people. I'm going to guess AIDS?
Light.
Right there's one. Right there's one.
Online commentators
Right,
were
there's
shocked
one.
with the footage, with this person saying, "This is France? This looks like Ghana, not France." And 2 women were left injured and terrified after their car was surrounded and destroyed by
Oh, well, maybe stop hanging out with hoodlums.
rioters following the PSG Champions League victory.
Dude, they sound like animals. These are animals. These are animals. And some, if a dog bites somebody, we put it down. Ooh, I'm going to get in trouble. Ooh.
In the UK, the situation is even more dire, with daily occurrences of violent bashings and stabbings by migrant groups on innocent local victims.
Look at this random fat white guy on the corner. He's about to get shanked up. Allahu Akbar. Oh my God.
Knife crime is at an all-time high, with people being randomly targeted on the streets.
Don't fight him. Run, bitch. Get to another country. Go to Poland or Hungary, dude.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Give the play for you. Let's go. Let's go. We're not going to use the play. We're not going to use the play. We don't want to use the play.
Women's advocacy group.
Dude, heart don't make you smart, dude. What are you gonna... He's got a 10-inch butcher knife in his hand. What are you gonna do? You have a jacket. You're gonna take off your belt and do some Krav Maga? No, get the hell out of there.
Women's Safety Initiative is speaking
Where's
up
Jane
about
Goodall
the
at?
issue to...
Hold on. Jay Goodall is the lady that hung out with the monkeys, right? Bro. Didn't she get killed by a gorilla, though? Barcelona gets almost all their income from tourism. This is going to devastate all of the EU. Yeah, that's
to raise
crazy.
awareness about the dire state of play.
That's another beautiful city. Is this Dubai? Where's this? Look at this beautiful city. And it's so sad that, like, these amazing cities, these amazing countries that have stood the test of time for 1,000 years, 100, or, you know, multiple generations. You open the borders, you let in the riffraff, and you watch your country burn. And people don't learn their lessons. They don't learn their lessons. Look at this architecture, is amazing.
Okay, at the moment.
The silent impact of mass migration on women's daily lives in the UK is a stark reminder of the point that we have got to in this country. A country that has chosen multiculturalism over assimilation, ultimately leading to what we have now. Parallel communities with limited cross-cultural understanding. Let's take a look at Ballsy Green, one of the most dangerous areas you could possibly live in Birmingham, with 181 crimes per 1,000 residents, and a large portion of these crimes being of sexual and violent offences. Now let me make it clear, the demographic of this ward is significant. Less than 10%.
Oh, let me guess. Let me guess who lives there. I bet you 90% of the residents' name is Muhammad.
Of this ward account for white British people. Violence and sexual offences constitute the largest crime category in Ballsy Green, making up 50.3% of all crimes reported. They are averaging at about 150 to 160 violent sexual offences committed every month.
And commentator Matt Goodwin agreed.
So a 24-year-old man has been brutally murdered on the streets of London.
Dubai's in the Persian Gulf. I don't know if that was Dubai. It's just a beautiful city. Dubai is a beautiful city.
Outside a luxury hotel by another man who was allegedly trying to steal his watch. This is merely the latest horrific symbol of how out of control and horrific London has become. Just look at the stats. Shoplifting is up 54%. Theft from the person is up 41%. 70,000 phones were stolen from people in this city.
Dude, this dude's about to get shanked walking down the street.
Last year alone. There's a rape every hour, sexual offences are through the roof, and it's not just the crime that bothers me. London has also become a symbol for liberal progressives of how they'd like to see the rest of the country. But do you really want the rest of the country?
It spreads. It's not enough that we have one city get overrun by. It's not enough that we have one Dearborn, Michigan. We also have to have little Somalia in Minnesota. We also have to spread it to New York, Chicago, Cincinnati, Atlanta, LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Modesto, Seattle, Portland, Salt Lake City, Utah.
To look like London. Hundreds of thousands of people who don't speak English, our national language, hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants, hate marches on the streets of our capital city every week, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah hate marches.
And all of this
Just a minute, we're almost done.
Footage of countries overrun by violence and division, yet their governments and leadership do absolutely nothing. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer seems to be more concerned about protecting the illegal migrants than protecting his own people.
Of course.
Reform UK's Zia Yusuf slammed the Prime Minister for his incompetence on the issue.
Your breath is hot, dude.
It's all garbage. No one's listening, which is why his approval ratings have collapsed at historic speed. Look, there's north of 1.2 million people here in this country illegally already. They are crossing the channel illegally at record numbers, right? So things aren't not improving fast enough. They are getting demonstrably worse every single week. And the only way we're going to solve this problem, Mike, and restore a social contract that is hanging by a thread in this country is by deporting every single one of those 1.2 million people who are here. We need to be standing up.
I mean, this guy should talk.
Enormous amounts of detention capacity. We need huge numbers of charter flights. We need return agreements with countries to take these people back. And if they don't take them back, we need to be doing things like stopping issuing visas altogether. We need to be scrapping the foreign aid.
And Starmer's latest humiliation. His deal with Emmanuel Macron of France over illegals, which commentators believe
That's the guy that's married to a man.
It's a man, baby.
will have absolutely no impact on fixing the current issue.
As far as their main kind of policies go, one of them they bang on about because of that ridiculous, ludicrous summit Le Summit, as we called it here, between Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer. You know, they seem to think that finding some form of middle ground and finding an agreement on stopping the migrants is going to stop them. Well, it isn't. You know, they've now got the idea, Yvette Cooper has, that they're going to send some people back to Iraq. You know, I'll believe it when I see it. Nothing of what they do works.
No one is going to go back to Iraq because even if they have a returns deal, the European Convention of Human Rights in its court will interfere and prevent that deal from being enacted.
And in a shock move, French reports indicate that France is now giving all Palestinians in Gaza the opportunity to apply for asylum. This commentator revealed the news, saying a French court has ruled that all people from Gaza can apply for asylum in France. That is 2.1 million people that can come to Europe. Not only that, because of freedom of movement, they could potentially travel anywhere in the EU once inside France. Sounds like a bad idea. And whilst the leaders of Europe refuse to do anything, the people have taken things into their own hands to send a message that this will not be tolerated. Spaniards have also had enough and are responding with violence.
Damn, it's getting crazy. Whoa. Damn. It's getting wild in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting wild. Children of men. The only pregnant woman is black. Children of men, the only pregnant woman is black. What does that mean? All right, guys. We don't have time to go over more of that stuff. I did have I did have one other video, but we don't have time to watch it. I got to go to work. But maybe throughout the week we'll talk more about that. We got to get to some Bible reading in the morning though. And probably start a new game this week. I do have a few more things to finish up in Wukong. But it's not going to be, we're pretty much done. Like I've beaten the game twice. Well, not quite twice, but almost twice. And just a few achievements left that I got to grab up. Some little things. So we'll probably be starting Dying Light 2 this week. And doing some Bible readings. But we'll also look more into this UK stuff over time. Keep our eye on it. But guys, White History Month is over. This is the last show of White History. Well, it's not over. There's still a couple days left, but this is the last show of White History Month. Next month is Men's History Month. August is Men's History Month. But thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for all the super chats. Even though the goals never showed, we did go over the goal. So thank you guys for that. I got to go to work. I got to walk my dog and get to work. So I need to hurry up. Let me see who I can raid you to. Lower Class, Tomato. Is the TikTok purge still going on that Crucible was doing? I guess that's over. Rob, Lower Class, or Tomato? Lower Class is on Tomato, and he has a smaller channel, so I think I'll send you to him. He has a smaller channel. He's trying to get his view hours up. Commenting on Tomato's debate. Base tweaker. Yeah, we'll go over to Lower Class. Good show, JSP's Urban. Hey, thank you, Jeff Hewitt. You just beat Dying Light 2? I haven't even started it yet. Dying Light the Beast is coming out soon, and I I had Dying Light 2 since its release date, but I couldn't play it because my computer couldn't handle it. So now I got a new computer, but I've been playing Wukong, so I still haven't even played Dying Light 2. So that's gonna be the next game we play. But I love Dying Light. Dying Light 1 is probably my favorite game ever. Love that game. So hopefully Dying Light is as good. But thank you, some dude. I will have a good shift. God bless you guys. Go put some chairs in lower classes chat. And, I'll see you in the morning. Thank you for hanging out. We out. Peace.